Wealth is a Choice podcast. Boom.
Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it.
All right, Todd, you ready?
I am ready.
Oh, cool, man. Thanks for biking into work today.
Sure. Well, the weather wasn't too bad today.
Yeah. So people that know you describe you as the godfather of biking in Detroit.
Well,
I think a well-deserved nickname that you got going for yourself. But people that know you no, I don't know if you run more than you bike. People think of you as the bike guy, but you're actually a pretty big runner.
yeah, kind of. I did in terms of biking. I did a lot of biking events, and I kind of felt like I kind of did everything. So then I switched over to running, and there's just so much more to do with distance running and trail running.
When did you switch over?
It was a slow transition. I kind of got bored doing the Leadville 100 mountain bike race, and I'm
Okay.
like, well, why don't I do the mountain bike race, and then the week later do the 100-mile running race?
Okay.
Do the double, and that kind of
At
got me
Leadville?
into it. Yeah, at Leadville.
So
yeah.
they stack them like that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
It was a big thing back then. Yeah. Now
Okay.
it's an even bigger event, but it doesn't. It's difficult for people from Michigan to do it because you have to travel back and forth to Colorado quite a bit.
Okay.
What?
You either stay there, spend a nice week,
Right.
get them both, or you go back and forth.
Yeah. The double was easy to do because it's just 1 week after another week.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not always great to immediately fly after doing a big event like that, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you need some time off.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one situation where my feet were so messed up after this running race. It was a 250 miler. My skin was coming off my feet, and the nurse was like, "Don't get on a plane yet." So I had to delay my flight a couple days just so that my feet were a little bit more protected.
What would be the reason with getting on a plane?
I don't know if it was the altitude.
Okay.
I couldn't have them covered. I couldn't wear socks. Getting them dirty or whatever.
Yeah.
Waiting for the skin to heal just a little bit more.
Yeah. So what did you do to protect your feet during the run to try to minimize that?
Well, I learned a lot. When you chair your feet up, you learn a lot how to
Yeah.
do things right. I was taping my feet ahead of time, but I didn't really tape it a lot.
Okay.
And now I tape my feet pretty extensively.
Okay.
Where I know I'm going to blister.
Okay.
I'll tape all my toes individually and then tape my heel.
Okay.
And I generally don't have any issues at all.
Okay.
And also, one other issue that causes blisters is when your shoe's too loose and your foot starts moving around inside of it. It can cause some shearing, and that can cause blisters. So just making sure your shoes fit a little tighter than you think you should be.
Yeah. So were your feet numb, or you could feel every rip?
Oh, no, let's just say that when they removed the bandage, the skin was coming off with
Oh,
it on my
shit.
pinkies. It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was, because this was a six day running event.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd stop at the aid station, get off your feet, and then starting up again. It took about a mile or 2 miles till the nerves just kind of gave up,
Yeah.
telling you that it hurt.
Yeah.
And you just kept pressing on.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah. So with running, distance running, it's bad feet, and with distance biking, sometimes people get saddle sores, and like what's the lowest common denominator is where the most of the pain is sometimes in the pinky or right on your rear end, and it's
Yeah.
making everything else so much more difficult, and that might be the only thing that hurts. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe not
I
the
mean, it
only
can cause
thing,
you to
but-
change your whole gait, which causes some compensation injuries,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, you got to deal with those things from the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
I learned about, what's it called? Fix Your Feet?
Fix
Is
your
that the-
feet. Yeah.
So anyways, I called you because I had an event coming up, and I had developed blisters on one run. I don't get them very often, but on one run, I don't know what the deal was. I got blisters. And then once you get blisters, it's just like, do I let the blister heal and stop training so I don't have a problem when I come to the event? Or do I somehow keep training and then probably make the blister worse? And I was in this dilemma because I had the event coming up in like 3 weeks, and I still had a lot of training that I had to do yet. So I called you up to get your advice, and you said you got to get you called it the Bible of running.
That's right.
Yeah, Fix Your Feet. Unbelievable. I was in California, and I had these big blisters, and I even tried running with flip-flops. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah.
doing everything. Like, how am I
yeah,
going to
yeah.
train and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
get the blister? But the flip-flop didn't help because then I got a blister on the top strap where it takes. So I was starting to
Right.
develop a blister in a different spot. And then, like you said, it changes your gait, if you've got a problem. So anyways, On the way to California, I bought the book, Fix Your Feet. I read it in the plane. I got to California. I did what it said. I ran 20 miles, not a single issue with the blister. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
The next day I did another 20. The next day I did another, I don't know if I did 320s or 20, something like that.
Wow.
Not a single issue. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I was able
it's
to
amazing.
keep training. I was able to do the event and not a single blister during the entire event.
That's great.
I know.
It's great to hear.
I want to call that guy and ask him to study saddle sores and write a book on that.
Yeah, well, I got a really bad saddle sore from doing Leadville one year. And what I did is I came home and I cut off half my saddle so it wouldn't be in contact with my
Holy
saddle
crap.
sore. Yeah, so I had this saddle at home with half of it missing.
Okay.
The embarrassing thing is that, I got the saddle out, and I got my coping saw, and I cut it off, and I realized I cut off the wrong side. So I had to take another saddle.
No.
But, like cyclists, we always have the old saddles laying around. And
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that just would get on the subject of saddles, what works for one person doesn't work for another person. And sometimes it's this process of finding the saddle that works for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
We all have different sized bodies,
That's right.
different hips, different geometry.
Yep. Same with shoes. Yep.
So tell me about that run you got coming up in Grizzly Country.
Yeah, so I'm doing the Wyoming Range 100 in the Wyoming Range, which I think is below the Tetons, but above the Wasatch Mountains of Utah. Pretty rugged, backcountry, and we're on the outskirts of grizzly bear country. So
Which, by the way, has been at least 2 attacks so far I've heard about this year. One in Yellowstone, one
which
somewhere
is
else.
just up the street from this. So we're required to carry bear spray.
Okay.
And it has to be right on front, so you
Okay.
can't throw it in the back of your pack somewhere,
Okay.
right? And no headphones.
Okay.
So you got to be able to hear if there's a bear.
Okay.
Well,
Bells?
it's really interesting because now if
Do you guys wear bells?
No
Okay.
bells, no. But if you use your bear spray, they have bear spray at the aid stations. So you have to swap it out.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
So you always
interesting.
have a full canister.
You always do.
And
Yeah.
have you ever sprayed bear spray before?
I know I've never owned it because you can't fly with it. So
Oh.
so
Yeah.
I'll have to go out there and buy it.
So you got
Out there.
to buy 2. You got to do a practice spray.
Maybe I'll just practice with like some deodorant or something less expensive.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I've never sprayed bear spray. I've never carried it before. But I've heard there's a bit of human error that sometimes happens, and people end up spraying themselves. And
That's
so
what
I've been
YouTube.
told it's good to practice it once.
Or watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. And hopefully the wind's going the right direction.
Right.
But they are effective. Yeah. So that run is how long?
I think about 105 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, about 24,000 feet of climbing.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be a tough one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's higher than Everest. Well, Everest, 23,000 feet.
Right.
But we're 24,000 feet of climbing is a tremendous amount of uphill. And when you think of like Everest and somebody saying, I went up, I don't know. I've never met anybody that went up Everest. But anyways, 23,000 feet and some. But they don't start at 0.
Right. That's right.
I don't know where they start. 10,000, 12,000.
Right,
I don't know
right.
where they're at.
Right. I think there are longer sustained climbs in the world
Yeah.
than that, but that's the highest point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in the 100-mile races, anything under 20,000 is kind of like not so much a beginners, but like a regular
Yeah.
ultra, and then anything above 20,000 is more of your graduate level.
Okay.
And then last year I did one that was 42,000.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm flying home, and the pilot's like, "We're at 30,000 feet," and you look down and you go, "Yeah, I did that 1.5 times, right?"
Wow. Yeah.
It was nonstop mountain climbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I do think about that once in a while when I do an event with a lot of climbs and I look up at a cloud and think, okay, that cloud is, sometimes I look at my phone, like how high is this type of cloud?
Yeah.
Like, damn, that's as high as I went.
yeah, it shows you though. I mean, if you take one step at a time,
Yeah.
you can get to great heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some mechanical tricks or more efficient ways to climb. Using your tendons, using your hips. Sometimes you see somebody even like going upstairs and they're just using all of their leg muscles and they're struggling to lift themselves up all the time versus being able to use your tendon, kind of snap your leg and get your tendon to straighten. And there's if you're going 100 miles, you're doing it as it's difficult, but you're doing it as efficiently as you can.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes you use poles too,
Oh, okay.
which, so you just start using your arms, your shoulders more. And, and people, out there in Colorado, they're like, well, how do you even train for it in Detroit? It's like, well, every morning when I'm brushing my teeth, I go up and down the stairs, right?
Okay.
Nonstop, 2 minutes,
Yeah.
no hands,
Yeah.
and only breathing through my nose, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm brushing my teeth. And, maybe that helps a lot. Also before a big race, I will try to go out to the mountains and do a big climb, like 3 weeks before the event.
Yeah.
And they say that can inoculate your quads from blowing out during the race.
Okay.
So I try to do that as well.
Okay. Do you breathe through your nose normally?
Yep.
So I'm just practicing this. This has been like a life-changing moment for me. I've read this book, Breathe. I don't know if you ever saw James Nestor, I think, wrote it.
Yeah, okay.
So I read this book, Breathe, and I'm a mouth breather. People have told me they, breathe through your nose when you exercise. I'm like, it's impossible. Like, it is physically impossible. I remember being a little kid. It was impossible. I started snoring at night with my wife doesn't like it all. So I read this book, Breathe, and one of the things it said to do is put tape on your mouth at night, which seemed like, I don't want to do that. I can't breathe through my nose very well. Sounds like I might die, in the morning. But I did it, and almost immediately, somehow, my airways have been opening up in my nose, and I've been breathing through my nose. Like in the morning, I'm totally refreshed. I'm getting a phenomenal night's sleep.
Awesome.
I'm not dry mouth. Like, everything has changed. So then I went for my first jog about 2 weeks ago. It was like 3.5 miles. Breathing through my nose. First time ever in my life. And I thought I was going to absolutely die and pass out. Like, how in the world does anybody breathe through their nose?
Yeah.
Second time was a little bit better. And then I wore one of those strips that open it up. Third time, I didn't want to breathe out of my mouth. Fourth time, I totally normal breathing out of my nose.
Perfect.
I had no idea. So I'm hoping, and now I can go longer distances and breathe out of my nose. So I'm hoping, because it gets a lot more oxygen in your body.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping my athleticism increases too.
Yeah. You never know.
But anyway, so I've been asking people that do a lot of running and stuff, and do you breathe out of your nose? And most of the good ones say, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So back to biking. You've done a tremendous amount of biking improvements in Michigan, but heavily in the city of Detroit. And I'd like you to tell us about some of your projects. The DeQuinder Cut is I don't know how many thousands of people have been on that now. It's phenomenal. You go down there, it's like a biking party down there.
Yeah.
So if you can describe some of what you've been doing in the city.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll talk about how our organization, the Detroit Greenways Coalition, came about, because it's kind of unique. We started, backing up a little bit, there's money available to do trails, bike lanes, all that. But the government grants don't pay 100%. They'll pay 75%. They pay 80%. So communities in Southeast Michigan said, well, we don't have the match money to go get those grants. Mm-hmm. So the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan pulled together $30 million of funding from other foundations,
Okay.
and re-granted it to these communities so that they can go after these funds. And
Okay.
now in the city of Detroit, this was pre-bankruptcy, early 2000s. The city just didn't think that was a priority. They were just trying to keep their head above water with finances. So a lot of nonprofits in Detroit went after this funding and started building trails. And then they're like, oh my goodness, we're not a government agency. How do we maintain this? How do we get insurance?
Okay.
So the Community Foundation, along with Michigan Trails and Greenways Alliance, brought all these groups together and said, let's solve all these problems together. And that formed the basis for the Greenways Coalition.
Okay.
So we're kind of filling the vacuum that the city had left. Now, over time, and I came in 2008
Okay.
to lead it. And, we solved some issues early on. Funders didn't want to fund all these little projects around the city that the nonprofits were doing. They wanted to see the bigger picture, how it all connects. So we developed a citywide network vision of how all these things connect into a big grid and connect up the entire city.
Okay.
We also advocated with the city to say, you need to step up and start doing the bike lanes. You need to step up and start doing the trails. And it took a lot of work, but over time, we were very successful. And now that the city went through bankruptcy, they had more capacity to do stuff. They unloaded Belle Isle to the state. So they're able to do greenways now. And they started doing a lot of other big projects.
Okay.
Now, I would say that like some projects, like the Quinter Cut started pre-bankruptcy. That was an interesting project because the city thought they were going to move all their casinos to the riverfront.
Okay.
And so they bought this abandoned railroad, and they thought, we'll make this a really fancy road to the casinos.
Okay.
Well, then they decided not to put the casinos on the riverfront.
Okay.
And they had this railroad, and folks like the Community Foundation, the Kresge Foundation, put a lot of money into it, said, let's make this into a rail trail.
Okay.
And the community said, we're not going to go down into that ditch. What are you thinking? They couldn't even envision what this could be.
Mm-hmm.
They just saw it as an overgrown former railroad corridor that had a lot of dumping in it.
Right.
Once it got redone into the Quinter Cut, they're like, oh, this is what a rails to trail is.
Yeah.
This isn't long enough. We need to make this longer.
Wow. Okay.
It was like a 180. And it was also a 180 with the city, too, because I don't think they really were on board with getting into building trails. And then they saw this and the grand opening celebration and the children and the food trucks and the marching bands. And they're like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And so
it's beautiful down there. There is the food. There's the social. People are hanging out. There's all kinds of stuff going on down there.
Yeah, it really is. And there's, it's over 1,000 people per day on the trail. It gets a lot of use.
Yeah, and not only local people that live in the city of Detroit, but I know a lot of people go down there just to bike it. Get down there, bike along the river, go down to Belle Isle.
Yeah, it's a great starting point because now people can start at Eastern Market.
Mm-hmm.
If you drive there, there's plenty of parking. Mm-hmm. Plus, there's distilleries and breweries afterwards.
Yeah.
But you could start at Eastern Market, head down the Quinter Cut, do the Riverwalk, Belle Isle, like you said.
Yeah.
Spend the whole day and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So you mentioned connecting pathways, which I've seen, whether it's up in the UP or some other township or something like that, where like you mentioned, there's a lot of different organizations trying to make an improvement somewhere, and then it's kind of like the trail to nowhere happens. Yeah. I'm sure you've seen that develop, and if there isn't some kind of master plan recognizing where do bikers, what's the natural flow, where do they want to go. Okay, it's great to do this thing, but how does it connect them to this next thing? So what did you see when you guys were starting to look at it from a bird's eye view, how to make these connections?
Well, so what happened is that we realized the city had done a non-motorized plan.
Okay.
That showed how the city could all connect up using primarily roads.
Okay.
But like a lot of plans, they get done and then they get put up on a shelf and nothing happens with them.
Okay.
So we pulled the plan off the shelf, presented it to city council, and they adopted it.
Okay.
And they also directed the mayor to start implementing it.
Okay.
So that's what really kind of kicked things off. And it was an old non-motorized plan, but it was a start.
Okay.
And that showed how you could build across the entire city and connect things up. And Detroit has a certain advantage in that the road network was built for 2 million people, and then 1.3 million have left.
Yep.
And we built a freeway network that pulled all these cars off the road.
Yep.
So we have these really wide roads, unnecessarily wide roads that just don't need to be that wide. And so it's very easy to take a portion of the road away, put in bike lanes, and make those long connections across the city.
Okay. And the city itself is, I believe, by landmass, the biggest city in the country?
No, I don't think so. It's 139.
Isn't it like 12 miles?
139 square miles, I think it is.
Okay. There's bigger cities?
Oh, yeah. There's bigger cities, like Jacksonville, I think Indianapolis. There's some very large cities.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, it's funny. There's some cities that you think are big that are not big, like Atlanta. It's actually really small.
Right.
But it's surrounded by this huge metro region. Okay. So, so there's Detroit is, you could say you put Boston, San Francisco, and there's some other city you could fit inside Detroit, but that's just,
cherry picking?
It's totally cherry picking.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. You couldn't put Houston in the city of Detroit, right?
Okay. All right.
So, but it is a big city, yeah.
Yeah. And does the network kind of mesh most of the city together?
Oh, the entire city.
Oh, wow.
And goes across the borders too. I mean, that was a big issue for Detroit. the whole racial history of the suburbs versus Detroit. So building those trails across the borders has been a priority for us. And we've got some built. We have a lot more to go.
Okay.
It's easier now than it was maybe 20 years ago, but that's part of it too. We want to connect in with all the suburbs so people can ride in and out, whether it's coming in for recreation or going out for jobs. We want it all connected up.
So I do ride with some friends from here in Bloomfield, which is a suburb of Detroit, and there's a lot of easy roads to choose that don't have very much traffic to get through the suburbs, get down through Ferndale, get into Detroit. And like you said, they're huge, wide roads, which very little traffic on them.
Yeah, it's funny, because back in the day when I started, not many people from the suburbs rode in Detroit. It was like, oh my God, you ride in Detroit, right? Yeah. And people were so scared of riding in Detroit. And I'm like, your biggest safety issue are the SUVs who can't see you in the suburbs that are going too fast. That is the biggest safety issue.
Turning roads, yield signs, stop signs, yeah.
Yeah, sharing the road with these big vehicles, a lot of attitudes, get off the road attitudes. That scares me a lot more than riding in Detroit.
Yeah.
And sure, you're going to see some blight, not as much, you're not going to see the blight you used to see. But there used to be a lot more blight.
Yeah.
But that doesn't harm me.
Yeah.
It looks scary.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt you as you're biking by,
Right.
Yeah. So, Detroit, it's great. And people have been really friendly in the city. I've had people come up to me, roll down a window, and, that's always like a little scary thing. I've had guys just roll down the window, just start chatting with me about where you're riding today. It's the Detroit culture is awesome.
Yeah. I haven't had a negative interaction yet. It's mostly people cheering, praising, excited to see people riding their bike.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first person who honked at me. It was after 10 years of riding in Detroit. And I laughed. I'm like, hey, you're the first person to honk at me in a mean manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get a decent amount of that around here.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Just slowing them down for a second.
Yeah.
So what's the approach look like? Like, how do other cities start to increase mobility in their town? Like you said, there's grants, there's money out there. How do they start to piece it together?
Well, I think the best way to go about it is from a safety perspective.
Okay.
Because it's easy to argue about what the best road design is. Everyone who drives or bikes has their opinions about that. But safety is one thing that is less debatable.
Okay.
And every city has a road safety crisis.
Okay.
Detroit especially had that. Detroit was losing, loses over 100 people per year on the roadways through road deaths, and then a lot more serious
motorized,
injuries.
Non-motorized, both
combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
100?
Yeah. Over 100.
Wow.
In fact, I was just talking with someone at the city, and that at some point the homicide number is going to drop below the number of road deaths in Detroit, because that's been trending downward, whereas road deaths in Detroit have trended down a little bit. COVID really kind of screwed things up. Everyone started speeding more during COVID, and so there was a lot more fatalities across the country. Okay. They're starting to come back down, but statewide, the state's not making much progress on making the roads safer. Despite cars are getting safer, but the roads and the drivers aren't. Yeah. So there's just a lot more work to do. So that's really where you can go onto a website called Michigan Traffic Crash Facts. Yep. You can pull up where are the crashes occurring in your city, and that could be a way to start advocating. Okay. A next step to do is to get your city to apply for a Safe Streets for All grant. They're available through SEMCOG or federal government. And what that does is you hire a professional to come in and analyze where the crashes are occurring, because they don't happen on every road. There's certain roads that are much more dangerous than others. Okay. They identify what kind of treatments could be done to eliminate those crashes. Okay. And go from there. And the City of Detroit is doing that. They have a plan. They've identified the high injury network. They've got $70 million in funds from the federal government to improve those roads. Roads like Gratiot, Gratiot in Detroit is the most dangerous road in the entire state of Michigan. Okay. Why is that? Just a lot of deaths. Well, it's a road that if you didn't know what the speed limit was, you might think it was 45 to 50. Okay. It's actually 35. Okay. But the average speed is probably 50. Yeah. Because that's what the road informs drivers. It's wide. It's got wide lanes.
Kind of looks like Woodward once in a while.
Looks like Woodward, yeah. And cars go really, really fast on it. It's also got some really bad. It's because it's at an angle, more so than Woodward. Cars can make right turns off of it at high speeds because it's not a 90-degree turn anymore. It's like and then you make that turn, and if someone's in the crosswalk, it's not a good outcome for the pedestrian.
Yeah. So let's talk about the crash facts, because once I got onto this website, I thought, this is amazing. The amount of data you can pull from that thing, and that it's accessible for the public to look at, it kind of blew me away. And I don't know how many states have that good of crash information. I've looked at different states to try to get, details about how safe is, like, comparatively. I like to ride my bike in the UP a lot, and I've tried to get data like to illustrate that this might be the safest place in the country to ride your bike. And so I've looked at other states, and not everybody organizes it as well as Michigan does. This is an amazing tool to have.
Yeah, it really is. I think all the states collect the data because it's kind of a requirement. They have to submit it to the federal government.
Right.
And there is something called FARS, F-A-R-S.
Okay.
And that's the federal version, but it only tracks fatalities. Okay. But you can look at different states that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Michigan Traffic Crash Facts is really handy. I mean, especially when you can bring up which I think the most handy part I find in that data is the police report.
Yep.
Where they actually draw the street and they say this was happening. This guy was going this way. This was happening here.
Yep.
Some of the data in there can be a little questionable, especially for bikes and peds because a lot of it goes unreported.
Okay.
A large percentage of crashes, if the person didn't require ambulance, a lot of times it just goes unreported.
Okay.
And so you got to take it all with a grain of salt.
They're like, oh, sorry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sore for a few days, but I lived and...
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I look at the data, I generally only focus on fatalities and serious injury accidents. Those serious injuries mean that an ambulance took the person to the hospital. So pretty much if that happened, you knew that. I mean, there's situations where people got hit and got a ride to the hospital.
Okay.
But that data is more accurate than the rest.
Okay. But if you see trends in the serious or the death, then those are true trends versus the non-serious. There could be stuff happening or not happening. It could
be that some people in some city don't trust the police, so they're not going to call the police if there was a minor scuffle or something.
Yeah.
They just or what happened in Detroit is that the police response time was so long. That you might call it in. And they might say, "Are you hurt?" No. Okay. Well, you're not a priority. Are you going to wait around 45 minutes for the police to show up and do a police report?
And if there's no report, it's not inputted.
Exactly. Yeah. So you got to take it all with a bit of a grain of salt.
Okay.
I will say one thing was really interesting that I used it for was Detroit had a growing number of pedestrian deaths, and I looked at it, and they're happening in dark, unlit areas.
Okay.
And that was at the time when about 50-60% of the Detroit streetlights were not working.
Okay.
Once they fixed them, those deaths dropped dramatically.
Wow. And
so an unintended consequence of fixing the streetlights in Detroit was we're saving about 12 lives per year.
Wow.
Which is significant, and no one planned it. Right? It just happened.
Yeah.
So that the data can be very valuable for things like that.
Yeah. So you log in, you can sort by the entire state, you can sort by the region, UP, upper, lower, lower, lower. You can sort by a zip code. You could sort by a city. You could sort by a street. There's all kinds of ways to sort the data. And then as far as geographics go. And then you can say, I want to look at deaths, or I want to look at this, or I want to look at a bike accident, or I want to look at a pedestrian, accident, right? Mm-hmm. So then you can sort by all kinds of different types of accidents. And then, like what you said, bottom line, then read the police report.
Yeah.
It's crazy that all these police reports are now attached to that thing. And so, like, if you say how many deaths are in my town, and then, like, I've read every single police report of every accident that happened in the UP in the last 15 years. It's not that hard to do. There's like 20 a year, and so, but in your town, you can do the same thing. You can say, all right, I'm going to read 100 police reports. That's not that overwhelming of a job to do.
Right.
But then when you read it, you do see the picture. And then you can develop these patterns. Like, okay, I see why this is happening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And you do have to screen it a little bit because sometimes there's a little bit of bias in there, especially with the bike and ped. I've seen a lot of times that they say the pedestrian wasn't in a crosswalk, but they were because the police didn't understand what a crosswalk was.
Okay.
They think if it's not marked, it's not a crosswalk. Mm-hmm. So there are some caveats, but yeah, it's good data.
Some reports are more thorough than others, and
Absolutely.
all of that happens. But
Yep.
bottom line, it's good to see, regardless.
Yeah, for instance, I had a friend of mine who was hit, and he was in a coma for months.
Okay.
And they recorded the crash as possible injury.
Wow.
So a little bit of grain of salt.
Well, why would that be? So they were taken away in a hospital?
They checked the wrong box when they filled it out. Yeah.
But they went in an ambulance.
Oh yeah. He was not moving. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had another person who was run over by a gravel hauler.
Yeah.
I shouldn't mention all this bad stuff. But,
I know.
I mean, it's not common.
But that was horrible.
Yeah. And
left-hand
she was faulted.
For really?
Yes. They had to go back, and then they fought it and went back and said, how could it be my fault? I was waiting at a stoplight.
Yeah.
The light turned green, and the guy pulled over and did a right turn and ran me over.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So just got some caveats.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes there is an assumption that the biker or the pedestrian should have avoided it.
Yeah.
All right, so I've noticed on the crash data reporting, and maybe like you say, maybe it's not all getting reported, but I've noticed the trend over the last decade is that the hits are somewhat decreasing. So there's about 1,200 bike to vehicle accidents a year in Michigan, and it's somewhat on the decline, but the deaths have been on the increase. And I don't know why that is, but that's been a pretty consistent trend. This was going this way, that's going that way.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I know some folks some studies have thought it might be related to vehicle design.
Yeah.
Because the vehicles have gotten bigger, and in the old days, if you got hit by a car, chances are it was going to hit you in the legs.
Okay.
Now you're going to hit by SUV, it's going to hit you in the organs, in the torso.
Yeah.
Also, these bigger vehicles have bigger blind spots now.
Yep.
Because they have to have, for the roof not crashing in on you, they had to strengthen all the pillars.
Oh, yeah.
That means you can't see more spaces on the road.
Yeah.
That's an issue. Speeding continues to be an issue in the state.
Yeah.
It could be all those factors.
You mentioned somebody ran the red light when you were on your way here on your bike today.
Yeah, I was stunned.
For some reason, I'm seeing more and more of that. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't think enforcement should play a huge role, but I think there's just been almost no enforcement. Enforcement really dropped off during COVID nationwide because the police did not want to have the interactions with people during the COVID, and it just hasn't gotten back to where it was before. I know, for instance, I live in Royal Oak, and they actually at one point abandoned the traffic enforcement division. And said, well, we'll just enforce as we see it. And I think, it's just not a priority.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating.
Yeah. On that note, there's a 3-foot rule that a vehicle has to be 3 feet away. And is that from the mirror or the body of the vehicle? Because those mirrors are big sometimes. But also that's something that a vehicle could be 6 inches away from a biker. But if a police officer doesn't see it, there's no way for that person to be ticketed. Is that correct? Like some of these violations have to be witnessed by a police officer, it can't be that guy was too close to me.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, I was just talking with a police officer in Detroit about this, not about the 3-foot lane, but about something else where they get sent pictures, or they get sent videos. And in this day with AI and all that, we can't go on hearsay.
Yeah.
We can't write a ticket based on that. It's just a judge is going to throw it out.
Right.
So yeah, it's difficult to enforce.
It's a good rule.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think before the law got passed, it was a 5-foot recommendation.
Okay.
Which I thought that's good.
Yeah.
That
sounds good. 5 feet.
5
3
feet. Yeah. But they had to compromise with lawmakers, and they made it a 3-foot law. And I'm like, well, is that better? I don't know. I mean, you can't just pass more laws and expect that to make everything safer, especially if
Yeah.
there's no enforcement or
Yeah.
little enforcement. So, it's frustrating. I mean, I'd just rather see people realize that, we're vulnerable road users. I mean, we're called vulnerable road users for a reason. We don't
Yeah.
have that metal carcass around us and the airbags and all that.
Yep.
And, people are out here for many different reasons. We're out here recreating. We're also getting to work. Moms, dads, school teachers. I mean, just be respectful of your fellow human being.
Yeah.
And be more careful. I see so many people who just don't realize how unsafe they are.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as a runner, you see it at crosswalks all the time. People just don't stop before the crosswalk, as the law says. I mean, I'd say like 90% of the time,
The
cars just roll right through the crosswalk.
Okay.
I've had people on their phones as they roll through the crosswalk,
Mm-hmm.
or they're talking to their partner in the car, roll right through the crosswalk because they just want to make that turn without even stopping.
Yeah.
Right? And for people walking and biking, it's not safe at all.
Yeah. And so the law about not using your phone, how long's that been passed?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long
Yeah,
it's been.
seems like
Number
a
of
few
years.
years,
Yeah.
But it's incredible how easily distracted, even changing the song on your thing,
Yeah.
it's amazing what happens in your mind. Somehow, like, the world kind of shuts down
Yeah.
because driving is so automatic sometimes. And the world kind of shuts down. And if there's something out of the ordinary happening, it doesn't even register in your brain.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the infotainment systems because, people often think it's just holding your phones is the problem.
Yeah.
And there's been studies that show that infotainment systems can be worse
Yeah.
for basic things.
Yeah.
But that's not like included in the distracted driving law.
Yeah.
It's
You
very
got to
frustrating.
look at where you're touching.
Well, the days of knobs have like disappeared where you
love
just grab a
knobs,
knob and
man.
just rotate.
I so love them, yeah.
And that didn't take you out of your driving
Yeah.
zone, right? You reach down for the volume and turn
My
it.
cars still have them. I love them.
Yeah. Mine does too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still got a stick shift too. So.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's talk about complete streets. I'm always fascinated by this thing. So for the longest time, I thought it was like a law when I first heard about it. And the bottom line premise, as I understand it, you know it better than I do, is that all new road construction should consider the needs of all legal users of that road. That's kind of the bottom line sentence, as
Right.
I understand it.
Yep.
And it seems very logical to me. If you're going to go do a road project, it needs to accommodate every legal user of that road and not ignore some of them.
Right.
So I thought that was a law. I'm like, this sounds great. And every time a project gets put down, and it negates a legal road user like a biker or pedestrian, that this should probably be fixed.
Yeah.
And I was in my own mind, I was equating it to like I think it's called ACA. What's it?
ADA.
ADA.
Americans with Disabilities.
Yeah. There we go. ADA. And so, like, when that went through, all of a sudden, every bathroom and every public in office and everything was wheelchair accessible. And then every curb had a ramp down with these little, I forget what they're called, the little
Tactile
raised, what are they
strips.
called?
Tactile strips.
Yeah. Yep. And like everything in every city, uniform across the entire nation, it was done. And if a project happened where this didn't happen, it would get fixed.
Well, you had liability.
Yeah.
You'd get sued.
Right. And so I thought Complete Streets was kind of just like that when I first saw it. Like, oh, this is great. And then if a project gets done and it's not, considering all legal users, well, then they'll go fix it for, $2 million. But that's on them,
Right.
And that's not the case.
No, Complete Streets has no teeth. I think you said the right word in the beginning. You said you have to consider all users.
Yeah.
But and there were certainly some exceptions. So if the person's not a legal user, you don't have to, like on a freeway, you don't have to put sidewalks on a freeway.
Yep.
That would be ridiculous.
Right.
If the cost of doing so is more than 20% of the entire project, you don't have to do it. But the big thing, and here's the biggest issue with the state's Complete Streets Ordinance, which only applies to them, the state, is that it also says that if a local government refuses to pay for the maintenance of those facilities for forever, then they're not going to have to put it in. So let's say MDOT's redoing a road. There are no sidewalks on it, like Woodward.
Okay.
No sidewalks on Woodward. They would go to the local community and say, we'll put sidewalks in, but you have to maintain them and you have to pay for them.
Okay.
And they're like, why should we be paying for sidewalks that the state owns on your property, right?
Right.
It's ridiculous. But if they say no, then MDOT's like, well, then we don't have to put in sidewalks.
Okay.
It's kind of a bizarre thing, that policy that MDOT has, that they don't think that they own the sidewalks. In fact, they've stated to the USDOT that they don't even own their own sidewalks.
Okay.
But they provided no clear evidence why that they think they don't own it.
Okay.
I mean, they built these sidewalks on their roads, and they tell the USDOT that they don't own them.
Okay.
Like, who does?
Right.
You know, it's on your property.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to do work, or if you want to open an outdoor cafe on the sidewalk, then they claim they own them.
Okay.
So this is a big issue. It's a big issue with bike lanes too.
Nobody wants the carry cost, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the city of Detroit, Detroit wants bike lanes on some state trunk lines.
Okay.
MDOT's like, we'll put them in, but you have to pay for it.
Yep.
We're not going to pay for it.
Pay to put them in, or pay to maintain them.
They'll pay for some of it, but they want some cost sharing. They want the city to put money in, and then the city has to maintain it. Mm-hmm. So come winter time, when it snows on Michigan Avenue, the city has to clear the snow out of the bike lanes, and the state clears the snow out of the car lanes.
Okay.
And it's like you have to coordinate that, so you're not pushing snow onto the other guy's part.
Okay.
It's just so ridiculous.
Okay.
The state should say, we believe in complete streets. It's our property. These are state assets.
Right.
We're going to maintain them.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's for safety.
Yeah.
But instead they say, no, we don't have to maintain these complete streets elements.
Okay. So a couple reasons why I thought it was a law is it's in every state in the nation as far as I can see. Like everybody has adopted a complete streets policy that I can see. And it's cited in every road construction manual that I think I've read. Like it's cited in MDOT manuals, it's cited in road commission manuals that complete streets in numerous times, if you open the PDF and put in complete streets as a search, you're going to find it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, this is a great law.
Yeah, no. It just has no teeth. And
Yeah.
people have different interpretations of it. I mean, some people, scale back what the thoughts are, especially like Road Commission for Oakland County. They're just not going to support bicyclists.
Okay.
Bicyclist safety is not a concern for them.
Mm-hmm.
Sidewalks, they don't feel that they're responsible for putting in sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
So their idea of complete streets might only pertain to drivers.
Okay.
But maybe making crosswalks for pedestrians to get across the street.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot of people talk, but there are very few communities that are really doing it right. I mean, I think Detroit is one of them. Ferndale for sure is one of them.
Okay.
I think what the city of Dearborn's doing is amazing. I think they're going to be moving up to the top echelon.
What are they doing?
They're just doing a lot of. The mayor, first of all, the mayor is very much into safety.
Okay.
Road safety. We have too many people going too fast. Too many people getting hurt on our roads. And so he's actually looking at how do we change some road designs to get cars to go the speed limit. And they have a design for Warren Avenue through Dearborn that is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a top-notch design. It's a complete street.
Okay.
It connects into Detroit. So they're doing a lot of stuff. They're putting safety at the forefront. Yeah. So City of Dearborn, I think, is doing a lot of great stuff.
Okay.
A lot of great stuff. And it's basic stuff, right? For instance, they know that people walk across the street to get to a church a lot. I mean, it's
Yep.
really. So how do we make that crossing great for people?
Yep.
And they're concentrating on real world situations that make sense. And,
Yeah.
And it's great.
Not every city or town embraces, mobility. I don't know, complete mobility by all.
Right.
But when you get to a town that does.
Yeah.
And Detroit is a huge example, but I'll give another one just for comparison. Like in Austin, Texas, they've got a river, and they have developed this phenomenal pathway system where you can go a mile or 5 miles or 10 miles or, or 15 miles or whatever, and they continue to connect it. And it's when I go to Austin for a meeting, I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time while I'm there on that system.
Yeah.
And people, when they come to the city of Detroit and you've developed all these pathways, they know one of the things about coming to the city of Detroit is that they will have mobility. And that's a huge advantage that I don't know why townships and cities don't all embrace it, but that's a huge attraction.
It is. This has really come up with the Gordie Howe Bridge. Because the new bridge between Detroit and Windsor will have a multi-use pathway that we led the advocacy on that to get that. And so now the Canadians are saying, okay, we're going to come to Detroit. Do you guys have paths? Do you have things to do, places to ride? And
why? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Because people don't know if they're not totally into the news of Detroit, especially if you're in Toronto or something. And so so we've been actually kind of spelling things out from a tourist perspective, which is not something we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Saying where you got to go and some of the things you want to see, and it's super exciting.
Yeah.
There's so much to do, and back in the day, people weren't riding in Detroit like they are today. People from outside Detroit, people in Detroit were always riding bikes, but people from outside the city weren't coming to Detroit to ride. And then we had things like Tour Detroit, which drew thousands of people, and they're like, "Wow, we're riding a bike in Detroit!" And now it's like, "Yeah, we're riding a bike in Detroit." There's rides. Multiple rides every night of the week, all across the city.
Yep.
You can't do them all. There's just too much going on.
Yeah. Pat Irwin.
Oh, yeah, I know Pat.
Yeah, we went to college. Well, he was in college a little bit before I was, but they've got, I don't know how many rides a year going on. There's like 200 people that join these rides, and it's a blast.
It is, yeah. Yeah, Pat's been a long friends, for, I don't know, 30 years maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. But, his club, We Bike Detroit just gets a lot of people out, and they set up these really unique, fun rides.
Yeah.
But I have a list of all the bike clubs in Detroit. There's about 80 of them. Some of them aren't, maybe not functioning. And maybe things come and go, but there are at least 45, 50 really active bike clubs in Detroit. And for the most part, they have rides at least once a year. Some have 1 to 2 per week.
Yeah. I'm sure you could find something big every week.
Yeah, and there's some rides that go fast. There's some rides that go really slow.
There's
some
slow
rides.
Roll. Yeah.
There's some rides that go. You start the ride, you go a half mile, and you're at a liquor store. Right.
Yeah.
That's the first stop. So, but just the whole vibe of it. The music and the lights on the bikes, and we did work early on with a civil rights icon of Detroit, Ron Scott, and he said, there's not many activities in Detroit that brings together people of different backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, race, financial backgrounds, brings them all together on a bike. He said, this is the ultimate democracy.
Yeah.
And he said, this is a great way to build empathy among groups, understanding among groups that don't normally get together.
Yeah.
You don't see it at a Tigers game, you know. But you
I don't
see
know
on
what
a
it is
slow
about
road.
bikers, but they're nice people.
Yeah, there's some bad ones too.
I don't know.
We're not all angels.
Predominantly
But
met just really good, high quality character of people. This bike ride that we do in the UP, it's a small event. It's a big event by distance, but it's a small event by number of people. We might have like 50 riders a day on it. Some doing all 10 days, some doing a fraction of it. But I first did it in 2018, and I was hyper focused on the scenery and the routes and the safety of it, and wanted everybody that to be their impression. And every year, the impression is the humanity of it, the people they meet, the relationships that they develop. And it's just, some reason, there's this awesome caliber of people that are doing these things.
Yeah.
And I just happen to notice that on most of these biking events. I'm having a blast with all these different bikers, like you say, all ethnicities, all races, genders, ages. It's a huge mix of people.
Yeah.
But they're typically happy to be out there outside riding their bike.
Right.
Having a good time, chit-chatting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
all social classes too, all types of incomes, like everything. It's just a smorgasbord. It's everything.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're on a bike. You're okay with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was on a ride a few years ago, and this woman, her bike broke down a couple times.
Yep.
And she said, I'm so sorry. I'm holding up the group. And this woman goes, don't worry, honey. We're family.
Yeah.
This bike ride, we're a family right now.
Yeah.
And if you have a problem, we all have this problem.
Yeah.
And we're going to fix it and be together.
Yeah. You see that all the time. There's a bike on the side of the road, and there's 5 people helping them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many chefs
Yeah.
in the kitchen sometimes.
sometimes.
But
Yeah. Hey, anybody wants to volunteer to change my tube, go for it. That's a pain in the ass sometimes. Oh, they're mostly tubeless these days. Are you tubeless or you tube?
No,
You're tube still?
No tubeless. No.
Okay. How come?
Well, my bike here is a single speed, so I have no gears, no shifting.
Okay.
But I have tubes.
All right.
I like this because this bike is simple,
Yeah.
and it's the same bike that would have been ridden 130 years ago.
Okay.
So that, I like that historical aspect to it.
Yeah.
It's just a great urban bike. Not
Yeah.
much goes wrong with it ever.
Yeah.
I can track stand at the stoplights.
Well, these are pretty hardy tires too.
Yeah, you want a bigger tire. Because there can be a lot of glass and debris
Yeah.
in the city streets of Detroit. The sweeping isn't as good as it should be. There's just a lot of debris in Detroit, whether it's construction debris or car parts, curbs disintegrating, it all ends up at the edge of the road where we typically bike. So
Yep. Not your little skinny race tire that is maximizing every gram.
It's funny. I get a lot of complaints from people about, the bike lanes aren't swept enough, and I look at their bike. I go, okay, dude, get some bigger tires, right? 25 millimeter tires. They're just not. It's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
People with mountain bikes are like, don't have that issue, right?
Yeah. So even in the tour, this is a phenomenon that has developed over the last, say, 6 years, really. We went from 23, 25 millimeter tires pumped up to 120 PSI to predominantly tubeless, sometimes tubes, pumped up to 60 PSI, anywhere from 28 millimeter, 32 is very common, and we even have people show up with 40 millimeter tires.
Yeah.
The trend toward a wider, more comfortable, less fully pumped up tire has been amazing to see happen. When in the mindset of bike racing, it was this tiny little thing, hard as a freaking rock, knocking the piss out of you all the time, uncomfortable as hell, jolting you around. It's awesome how that has changed.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I had some 20 millimeter tires, and they were just terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It was painful.
You felt everything.
You did.
And then on the try position, you're like, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So my neck was going to break off.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on the complete streets and road construction manuals, it's referenced, but it's not, doesn't have to be stuck with. But I've noticed that the more people that are overseeing a project, bringing attention to a project, then it's more, I've seen more accommodating. I've asked like project managers doing a rural highway, for example, are you going to put rumble strips down? Yes, we are, or no, we're not. And if you are, how wide is the shoulder? How wide's the rumble strip going to be? Where is it going to be located? Then there's a lot of discussion that takes place on that. And if somebody isn't looking at it, it might get missed. But what can people do when they have, to be aware of road construction and to engage in it to make sure that it's accommodating?
Well, the key is you got to get engaged in it very early on.
Okay.
Before the construction starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would typically talk to your elected officials to say what specific street you want improved.
Mm-hmm.
And
they typically know months in advance. I mean,
years. No, they know years.
Years.
But the problem, a lot of times, the problem is that it's very difficult to find that information.
Okay.
It is stored in a document. SEMCOG has it. It is all but impossible to read and understand what you're looking at.
Okay.
It's something that we've been pushing SEMCOG to improve upon. Make it easier so people can know what's happening, so you can get involved early on. Because once the contract's been awarded, the design's been done, there's just going to be so much resistance to make any changes at all.
Okay.
Putting in rumble strips is not a huge deal. Changing the paint around might not be a huge deal. But some things like a road diet or something like that, where you might have to do a traffic study ahead of time, it's almost too late.
Okay.
And so that's one of the problems that we have, is that these road
before
agencies,
the planning, you need to know in advance of the planning and
if you really want
within the planning,
if you really want complete streets to work, we have to have road agencies that price that in from the beginning. It's not like complete streets are super expensive either, but price that in from the beginning. And this is something that MDOT doesn't do.
Okay.
They'll price something out. Let's just replace what we have, and then you come in and say, well, I want you to add bike lanes. Well, we don't have any money for that.
Right.
Well, you did. You just didn't assign it to this.
Right.
And so then they might try to go after a grant, but then that takes time too.
Yeah.
It's like you got to do it from the start. And so one of the things we're trying to do in the city of Detroit, Detroit has actually a complete streets department within Public Works,
Oh, good.
which is I think they made
Within the city, the government.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we have a department. It's called.
Well, that goes back to, you can tell they prioritize mobility.
They do. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a department within Public Works.
Okay.
And they're more planners.
Okay.
And they handle streetscapes, and streetscape is like where you redo a retail segment, where there's a lot of retail stuff, and make it a complete street. But they handle all that. They do a great job. They're just, but we're trying to get a complete streets ordinance, which codifies policy and into local law.
Okay.
So that, because we've seen how governments can change very quickly overnight.
Yeah.
And we don't want complete streets to go away. So we're trying to make this an ordinance. And one of the key things is we want it to look ahead. We want the city, when the idea to redo a road comes about, that they put the complete streets into the budget from the very beginning,
Okay.
rather than doing it much later on. And I think if you can get your city to do that, that would just be so much more of a benefit than, oh, there's construction barrels out, can I get this project changed? It's like, no,
Yeah.
you need to get it at the front end as early as possible.
So a huge kudos to the UP. There's a ongoing effort, organized communication called they call it the Superior Region, and all stakeholders are invited. There's the email chains, like 180 people on it or something like that. And Vince Bevins with MDOT organizes it. And we have regular Zoom calls, or used to be, and we'd get together. God, I miss those days. Now it's Zoom calls. But anyways, we get together, and everybody's invited, road commissions, townships, to submit what their upcoming projects are that year, the following year, the following year. And it is really highly organized. So I can see like every road project in the next like 3 or 5 years that at least people have submitted that are taking place preemptively before the hard line planning happens.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
The earlier the better that you can get involved. And even you just being there, they know you're going to be there. They know you're going to bring up issues. So maybe they preemptively prepare themselves and their projects so that, you know.
Well, this particular meeting is a non-motorized discussion.
Great.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it really is good. And it has made big differences over the years.
And we have there's a non-motorized group, I think that you're involved in too, at SEMCOG, at MDOT. That does stuff too, but we don't go over all the road projects.
Yeah.
I'm sure, it's different UP versus down here. We have so many more cities that are doing things, and it's not always as coordinated.
Yeah, and those are Zoom calls too. So this is something I don't get. I don't know why people don't put the video on a Zoom call. You got the person talking and maybe a few other people, and then you got like 100 empty screens, and I don't get that. So I've heard. I asked at the last call I was on, because I was at a road commission office because it was out of town, and so I joined them, and I asked the one lady, like, how come nobody? She said, well, sometimes it's bandwidth, and sometimes it's whatever, but so most of the time people don't want to show that they're doing something else at the same time, or at their house, or they're also checking their phone or whatever. I'm like, I hate it. I don't know.
I'll make a note to turn my camera on.
And that we're all attentive and we're all listening, and I don't know.
If I see you on my Zoom, I'm going to turn my camera on now.
Yeah. All right. So again, get involved early.
Yep.
If you're not familiar with Complete Streets, look at it. There was I don't know if it's a council. There was a group in Michigan at the state level that oversaw, and that was disbanded is the right word, but that happened under Snyder, which I thought was kind of weird because he was a big trails governor. Mm-hmm. But I saw their letter that they wrote, that they said, Complete Streets, we got it going, and we think it's at the level that the organizations, MDOT and road commissions, whatever, can now run with it. And so we're therefore recommending to dissolve the the little whatever the entity
Oh, okay,
was.
yeah, okay, I know. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
that actually was by design. So that was the legislature passed a Complete Streets bill that says we'll create this committee
Okay.
that will develop the policy
Okay.
and then go away.
Oh, it was always intended to go.
So it was
away?
always intended, yeah. So
Okay.
it wasn't for any other reason than it was just a temporary committee to facilitate the creation of a Complete Streets policy.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there was a Michigan Complete Streets Coalition that has also kind of gone away as well.
Okay. And was that just a
that was-
non-government?
It was non-government. It
Okay.
was led by AARP,
Okay.
and that was to get the bill passed.
Okay.
And then once the bill was passed and signed, yeah, that kind of went away as well. So,
Bill?
yeah.
Was it a bill?
Yep, the Complete Streets law, state law.
See, this is where I get confused. But it's just a guideline. So
Yes.
it was a bill that was passed, but it's not a law that needs to be followed.
So
It confuses me.
the law doesn't contain the Complete Streets policy.
Okay.
The law says the state shall develop a Complete Streets policy.
Oh, okay.
And this group, it'll create this group that will help create that policy.
Yeah.
That's all the law says.
Okay.
Well,
See, I
there's some
misunderstood
other
this
parts
thing
of the
for a
law
long
too
time. Yeah.
that say, like, if a community has a Complete Streets policy, other agencies doing work in that city have to follow it. So, for instance, if a city had a Complete Streets policy and MDOT was putting a road through that community, they would have to work together to coordinate their efforts.
Okay.
So it does some other things too, but yeah, basically it doesn't. The Complete Streets law, it does not include the policy itself.
Okay. Do you think if the committee still existed, would things be different?
I think what I haven't thought about this too much, but I would say that the real issue here is we need to fix the policy.
Okay.
I think that's where the biggest issues are, is that the MDOT policy that they came up with, again, does not say we own the sidewalks and we're responsible for the sidewalks and the bike lanes that are within the state roadway.
Okay.
And I think that's the biggest issue. They need to fix that part of the policy.
Okay.
I don't think we need a new law necessarily for that.
Okay.
It could be done through the State Transportation Commission.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if there's people working on that?
I'm not sure how much I can say.
Okay. All right.
Let's just say that, in the past, the State Transportation Commission has been more or less a rubber stamp
Okay.
and hasn't been very progressive or active. So they're not about to change the Complete Streets policy unless
Okay.
MDOT told them to.
Okay.
So there are groups looking at how can we get more progressive people on the State Transportation Commission.
Okay.
So yeah, it's being looked at
All right.
for sure.
From an oversight, what organizations in the state are doing a real active role in non-motorized safety oversight with legislation, government?
Well, the League of Michigan Bicyclists is doing some stuff that, we're on board with some of it. But we're also involved in trying to change MDOT, State Transportation Commission.
Okay.
So we've been part of a group with that, with Rails to Trails,
Okay.
with the League of Michigan Bicyclists, and some others, trying to get some changes made within MDOT.
Okay.
Changes like we talked about, like when you budget a project, you budget in the Complete Streets from the beginning, and you take ownership of the assets within your right of way.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're the main groups working on it. When it came to, we used to do a lot of work with climate action, because we see a way to reduce carbon emissions from transportation is to get more people walking and biking and using public transit.
Sure.
And so we actually led on that, on the statewide push for that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've not been very successful. The governor's been very focused just on EVs, which
Yep.
is not going to get us to carbon neutrality.
Yeah.
But we're continuing to push biking and walking, and working with groups like Transportation Riders United. They hold up the public transportation side of things,
Okay.
and we're helping hold up the biking and walking part.
Okay. And is there things that people can do to help support your guys' efforts, get involved?
Well, yeah, we're a nonprofit. You can always support us through donations,
Okay.
to help make things happen. seems like the donations have fallen off a bit for a lot of organizations around the country. So yeah, any help we can get would be very, very good for us.
And where do they go to help support that?
Well, first of all, go to our website, see what we're about, DetroitGreenways.org.
Okay.
We got our hands in a lot of stuff. We've only touched on some of it today.
Yeah. I know it says Detroit, but you guys are improving policy and the safety of bikers throughout.
Yeah, throughout the state. Yeah,
because you're working on deep-rooted, at the source improvements.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are having effects. I mean, people are coming to Detroit from the local communities and seeing what's going on, and bringing things back. And then I've been involved in projects all across, like downriver area, because we set up a bike route from Detroit to Toledo. And so we've been working with all the downriver communities on how do we make those safer for biking and walking.
Yeah.
For instance, even like Hazel Park.
Yep.
Involved in Hazel Park, where I was in a meeting with a council member from Detroit who was talking with a council member from Hazel Park, and she says, I'm trying to get this bike lane on John R. Engineer says it won't fit. Can't put it in there.
Okay.
And I said, oh, here, I'll design it for you. I sent it back to her. I go, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Right? And they came back and said, we can't do this and this and this. I go, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And so now there's bike lanes on John R. in Hazel Park.
Wow.
A lot of times you get this resistance from engineers of you get what's called the technical brush off. We can't do it because of this, and they hope you kind of like go away.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to know as much about the work as they do to figure out how to get around those brush offs. In this case, we just using a simple tool, we were able to design a cross section for the road that fit within the curbs, didn't cause car congestion at all, and added bike lanes.
Okay. So when I'm looking at designing my routes up in the UP for the event, I've focused on two things. How do I get people in and out of a town in the safest way possible? And how do I connect communities in the safest way possible? So like that example that you just gave, if you're in a region in whatever city you're in the state of Michigan or wherever you are, and you say, I would really like to be able to have bikers connect to this community, reach out to that community, and then look for those natural pathways.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes you have to really push. So in Royal Oak, I've had a lot of pushback from the government on doing things that I think are just so obvious.
Okay.
Why don't we have better connections between downtown Royal Oak and the zoo, so people can hang out in Royal Oak, ride their bikes to the zoo, come back to Royal Oak, grab a meal or something.
Right.
And sometimes you look at these government officials and they're just like, that's not a priority. It's like, how can that not be a priority?
Yeah.
I've been with even meeting with Pleasant Ridge said, we don't have a downtown. We want to be able to ride our bikes to Royal Oak.
Yep.
You're downtown.
Yep.
And Royal Oak's like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
So you really, you got to be lucky with your city people. They have to really buy into this need to connect cities.
Yep.
But there's no reason that we can't have better connections between the cities around this area here, between Royal Oak and Birmingham and Berkeley. There's a lot of cool little places to go to. And, that's how we're going to, again, reduce carbon emissions. People aren't going to bike long distances. They're going to bike short distances. So let's make it easier. 50% of the trips in America are under 3 miles. So let's make it so you can bike those 1 to 3 miles between cities and get places and not have to worry about parking and not add more carbon to the atmosphere. Yeah.
It is wild how, but the grocery store is 1.5 miles away. Or whatever, and how often we drive in this place, and because sometimes there isn't a safe route to get there, but we're not going very far a lot of times.
I know. I used to be able to walk to my grocery store.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it became a Planet Fitness.
Okay.
It's gone. And then that's another thing too. Land use is a big part of promoting biking and walking.
Yep.
If things are too far away, you can't bike or walk. Right? It's just too unrealistic. Or maybe you could use transit, but our transit's not the best.
Yep.
So we really need to look at how do we infill things, make things closer. And that's a really big opportunity in Detroit because everything used to be real close because everyone used to be able to walk or take a streetcar to the local retail. You get your hair cut, you go to the pharmacy, you can go to the grocery store. It was all walkable distance. And then as those areas shut down and shuttered, people started traveling to the suburbs, and then you probably had to have a car.
Yep.
So now that's why Detroit is really trying to invest in these streetscapes and bring back retail sections so it's local chances are it's less chain, more locally owned
Yep.
businesses that you can walk to and develop a relationship with the business owner. Yep. And, you know, like the Avenue of Fashion on Livernois in Detroit is a great example. I mean,
Yep.
Detroit just spent $12 million on a streetscape project, narrowed the road, slowed cars down to do the speed limit.
Yep.
They were going 40, 10 over the speed limit before. Once the complete street was put in, cars were going 30.
Yep.
And now you have these really wide sidewalks where people can put outdoor cafes, you can have festivals, you know, and you have bike lanes. It's much better place for everything. And the retail has come back. There's been $20 million of private investment in the street since the streetscape went in.
Yeah. The bikers like to get together, go for a bike ride, and they love to go to a destination, have lunch, have coffee, you know, see something, do something, and then take a wonderful bike ride back to where they started.
Yeah. It's interesting because, you know, when you're in a car, you drive past things at a certain speed limit, and you're kind of focused just on the road ahead.
Yep.
When you're on a bike or walking, you see things like, oh, I didn't know. When did this store open?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Hey, I'm
no
going to
idea
stop
that was
in.
there.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's kind of. In fact, on Livernois, I've seen people. All they do is they're in the neighborhood, and as these stores were opening up, they would just ride their bike down one side of the road, looking in all the windows, turn around, ride all the way back. You know, and that was their evening, 3-mile bike ride.
Yeah.
See what businesses are doing, and yeah.
And sometimes you see things that so you're not going to do a ton of shopping on your bike and haul it back to your house, but a lot of times you see things like, oh damn, I want to, and you walk in there, you know, and then you're like, oh, I'm coming back, I'm going to get something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So the Iron Bell Trail was a big, audacious goal.
Yeah.
Rick Snyder established a long time ago, and it's not. It kind of fell through where it didn't get as much of a priority after he left, and so it's unfinished. It's connected, but it's unfinished in terms of being a real biking trail. But things like that, I think, are phenomenal, where you connect the Detroit, one corner of the state of Michigan, all the way to the far northwest corner, Ironwood, of the state of Michigan. And then the very fact that you're trying to make this connection opens up a gazillion projects along the way.
it does.
Connecting one community, and slowly, how do we get from Detroit to here, and from here to here, and here to here, and here to here, and all of a sudden, even though it's not one complete thing that I wouldn't recommend, especially in the UP, it's US 2. I mean, get off that damn thing. So there's other side roads I'd recommend instead.
Right.
But nonetheless, that it connected the entire state, I thought was a phenomenal project.
Yeah, and I take partial credit for that.
Good.
Because we were at an event, I think it was the opening of the groundbreaking for the Outdoor Adventure Center.
Okay.
At the end of the Corner Cut.
Okay.
And then we all rode bikes up to Eastern Market. And
Okay.
so Governor Snyder was there.
Okay.
And I'm riding next to him on the Corner Cut.
Okay.
And I'm like, biking is huge in Detroit.
Okay.
And everyone's biking. And these trails are so popular, blah, blah, blah. Next thing I know, I hear him next day on WJR. Well, biking is really popular in Detroit. And these trails are connecting things up. And then a few weeks later, he has this idea for the Iron Bell Trail. So I planted a seed.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I believe it. And he was the kind of guy that would talk to somebody, listen to somebody, and get ideas that would spark off of that.
Absolutely. So this is another trick that I used trying to get access to on the Gordie Howe Bridge is that Rails to Trails was interviewing him because of the Iron Bell Trail. And
Okay.
I said, hey, ask him a question about what about adding a pathway on the new bridge. And so they asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, well, we can connect up the two forts, Fort Wayne, Fort Malden, and all this stuff, and sounds good,
Yeah.
It's just sell, get a vision in their mind, and it helps sell things."
Well, we were in Australia. One of my sons did a study abroad over there, and there's this bridge in Australia in Sydney that you can walk on top of the bridge, and it's a full-time gig now. I mean, you can sign up for this thing like months in advance because they're so booked with these walkers going on top of the bridge. And it's really a good idea to have a bridge be more than just a bridge for cars.
Yeah, exactly.
When you can assign another value to it, it can sometimes be bigger than the bridge itself.
It's interesting. So, here's a little story about the bridge. Is that in 2008, they did an environmental review, and someone from the Southwest Detroit Environmental Vision submitted a comment saying, we want bikes and peds to be able to use the bridge too.
Yeah.
And the federal and MDOT came back and they answered. They said, well, we support bikes and peds, of course, right? Complete streets. But we're going to leave it up to Customs to make that call.
Okay.
So when I started my job, I saw that comment and that response. I'm like, oh, well, they're looking to get out of this, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I wrote a letter to Senator Levin and said, these are all the reasons why we need this connection, because there's no other bike connection between these two communities and all the stuff that's happening on both sides.
Yep.
They took that letter, they put it on his stationery and sent it to Janet Napolitano, the head of Homeland Security, saying, we want Customs to work with us on this.
Okay.
And they wrote back and said, Senator Levin, yeah, Customs is on board with this project.
Okay.
MDOT was not happy with me.
I
got pulled aside. What are you doing going around our back? I'm like, hey, I want this pathway.
Yeah.
We need this. So this is a once in a generation, or
Yeah.
more than that, once in 100-year
yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that on the Canadian side, the member of Parliament was a minority party, so they thought this was a pet project of him asking for access to the bridge. And he shared this letter from Senator Levin with their Ministry of Transport, and he's like, "Oh, Senator Levin's on board. This is serious."
Yeah.
And so that really got things going. And then we had a Zoom with Windsor Detroit Bridge Authority, and we brought in cycling tourist experts from Montreal to Missoula, Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, you absolutely have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This makes so much sense.
Yep.
We then produced a map that showed all the trails on the U.S. side, all the trails on the Canadian side, and what the bridge would connect.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, I just recently learned, the Canadians told me, they said, initially we were a hard no on this. There's no way we were going to do this.
Wow.
And then you guys convinced us.
Yeah.
We had to do it. And now, once they started talking about it, they said the number one question they got from people about the bridge was employment and getting jobs. Number two was this pathway.
Okay.
And they also decided too that they're trying to get LEED certification for an environmental facility, and by giving bikes and peds access to the bridge, it helped their LEED score.
Oh, okay.
And they said, if we make it toll free for bikes and peds, we do even better.
Wow.
So there's no tolls for bikes and peds using the bridge.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they are excited this year to ride their bike over to Canada.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
From here, you know what I mean? Not just in Detroit. Like, go from the suburbs, ride all the way down through Detroit, over the bridge, around Canada, come back. What a phenomenal, what a crazy, awesome day.
Yeah. I mean, there's a Greenway that takes you right to the vineyards and their wine country.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Greenway takes you right there.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Amherstburg's cool. I mean, just riding down to Amherstburg and grabbing a meal and coming back.
Yeah.
It's with the gas prices, it's a lot cheaper than driving up north. That's what I told the Windsor people. I'm like, that's how you got to pitch it. It's like being up north, but you don't have to drive. Yeah. You can just ride your bike to up north.
Yep.
And explore Canada.
And burn a few calories along the way.
Yeah, and the backcountry roads.
Yeah.
They have great gravel roads.
Oh. Which those tires would do good job on.
They've been on them. Those tires have been on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, it's going to be great for them. It's good for us. It's going to be great for them, too.
Yep.
Coming over to Detroit. I mean, just the downtown and the new Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Centennial Park is awesome. I don't know if you've had a chance to see that yet.
I have not. No.
It's amazing. They could ride over, take in a Tigers game, and then ride back. Grab dinner.
Yep.
Watch Tigers.
Yep.
Come back. I mean, what a great day.
Yeah, it is a great
day.
Yeah.
And relatively inexpensive.
Yeah. Which is pretty damn important right now, too.
It is, yeah.
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 So how do people see all the various pathways and trails that exist?
So we've created an online map. We used to do a printed map. It just becomes too cumbersome to keep it updated with all that's happening.
Yep.
So we went to fully online. What we did for this year is we added all of Windsor, Ontario's bike lanes and trails.
Okay.
We've added Essex counties. And then we've added some in the suburbs as well. Some of the major ones like I-275 and the Clinton River Trail.
Okay.
So they're all on our map. It's if you go to our website, DetroitGreenways.org, we have a link to our map there, and you could see what's out there and plan your route.
Yep.
And
Are
it's
these
constantly changing.
Things that you can like download to your bike computer, create a route out of it?
No, but we do have something for that as well. We have a Ride with GPS account.
Yep.
So for people who use that app on their phone,
Okay.
we pay the fees for that, and you can download all these routes for free off Ride with
Okay.
GPS. So we have quite a few on there. Some of them are really advanced. Like we have an Underground Railroad one on there where every stop along the way tells you a story of an Underground Railroad history
Wow.
at that location.
Okay.
And it is unbelievable, the history at some of these locations, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, not only just the whole Underground Railroad, but we talk about the political solution to slavery and how a discussion started in the city of Detroit at a specific corner where guys started saying, well, what no one's handling is getting rid of slavery in the 18 I guess this would have been 1850s. And maybe we need to form a new party. And so they went to City Hall, and over that springtime, they started planning it, and then they planned a convention in Jackson.
Okay.
That became the Republican Party.
Wow.
But that happened on a street corner in Detroit.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, or the first race riot in Detroit in 1831.
Yeah.
Amazing story of slaves that escaped the South, came up here, and then were working in Detroit and not causing any problem, but slave catchers came up to try to take them back, caused a huge riot, and they escaped to Canada.
Wow.
The whole story is documented. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Includes a jailbreak
Yeah.
as well. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And the Detroiters were trying to help them out as well.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And so some of these lessons can be learned along that
Yeah.
Underground Railroad route.
Yep.
And is there a Ride with GPS club that somebody would search for to find all these routes, or how?
We have them on our website. If you go to our website under events,
Okay.
There's a Ride with GPS link on there.
And then each event would be some different routes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, some of them are just like highlighting some of the new things that are happening in Detroit in terms of biking, walking, new trails,
Okay.
parks, and all that. Because we give tours often to professionals, and we'll map them out and put them on there.
Okay.
We're going to do a Juneteenth ride this year.
Okay.
That route is on there now.
Okay.
We do a Martin Luther King Jr. ride every year. That route's on there.
Mm-hmm.
And with some of the highlights all along the way.
Yeah.
People
like to know where to go.
Yeah.
They like to be able to have a route that somebody else rode,
Yeah.
somebody else created, how far it's going to be, even what the hills are. I guess there's not a
Yeah.
lot of hills in Detroit, but
Where the bathrooms are.
yeah, I guess people like to know where to go. They like the info.
Yeah.
And Ride with GPS is a great tool.
It is.
If
yeah.
you haven't used it before, you go there, you can convert it, you can put it on your Garmin, or I don't know what other bike computers there are. Garmin's all I know, but there's other ones too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wahoo, is that one of them, or
Wahoo.
Wahoo? Yeah.
Koros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you got the route. You can download it. You can put it on your bike computer. It could probably even show up on your watch.
Yeah. I don't have a big bike computer. I just have my phone with me.
Which Ride with GPS reads really well on a phone.
It does, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'll just have my Bluetooth in my ear.
Okay.
And it tells me, turn here.
Yeah.
It's like it's so
Turn
easy.
coming up 100 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you see something in distance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go check that out, and it's like you missed your turn.
Yeah.
I know.
I know.
I'm divergent here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so you can definitely do that. But you can even like if you want to explore Detroit. Just start at Eastern Market, head south onto Quinnercott, go left or right on the Riverwalk. You can't go
around
wrong
Belle
either
Isle.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go out and check out the new Ralph C. Wilson Park. You could do the Southwest Greenway, and head up to Michigan Central, the train station.
Yep.
Do a tour of the train station.
I have not toured that yet.
Oh my God, you got it.
I hear it's beautiful.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, it is. It's a cathedral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal.
I got to check it out.
You do.
And then that whole area is just getting beautiful. Built up, cleaned
Yeah,
up.
so many
Housing.
restaurants and
Yeah.
stuff going on. And
Who would have thought the park goes away, the Tigers Stadium goes away, and then that was a little bit of a shock for a while, but that whole area is coming back strong.
It is, yeah. It's funny, we got there's a little bike story here, complete street story too,
Okay.
because there's bike lanes on Michigan Avenue. We initially fought for those bike lanes to go in, and we were told we can't do it. MDOT said we can't put bike lanes in because the roads slope too much, and bikes are going to be going into the curb, which I'm like, all right. First of all, we build mountain bike trails at the same 5% outslope, and people aren't riding off the trail, right?
Yeah.
This is not an issue.
Yeah.
So I talked to some other people, and they're like, well, if bikes are going into the curb, they need to fix that, whether there's a bike lane there or not, because bikes are legal users of Michigan Avenue.
Right.
I got in a heated debate with the engineer, and at the time, Rashida Tlaib was our state rep, and she was like, Todd, calming me down, right? She can be pretty fiery, and I was pretty proud that she calmed me down. But we had to go above all the way up to the state, to the deputy director. We had to work out some things, and said, yeah, we can make this work. So we got those bike lanes put in, and then they were used so much that then the state upgraded them to protected bike lanes, working with the city of Detroit. And now
that is where they would have not the cones,
the
but
posts, the
Posts.
delineators.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so basically, if you can imagine the curbs, you had the parked cars and then the bike lanes, and then what they did, they swapped the parked cars and the bike lanes. So the protection is not those little plastic posts; it's actually
more
the parked
vehicles.
cars.
Yeah, okay.
And it was good. There's still always some issues still, but they're going to break ground this year on reconstructing Michigan Avenue, and they're going to be sidewalk level bike lanes now. Really nice, and then also the city of Detroit has taken on Michigan Avenue. They own it east of Cass Avenue, and so they're going to extend the bike lanes all the way down to Campus Marshes.
Okay.
And they're going to go from Campus Marshes to I-96, where the new soccer stadium's going in.
Okay.
So you'll be able. I mean, talk about making connections, right? Now you can connect Corktown with this new soccer stadium, with the core of your downtown.
Yep.
And it's not that far. It's like a mile bike ride or a mile and a half. I mean, anyone can do it with a bike or an e-bike.
Yep. E-bike, I do want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So like mobility, diverse mobility is not going away. It is only increasing. And I do wish any mayor, any township supervisor, any city, anywhere in the country, but definitely in our state of Michigan, would recognize the need for a diverse mobility, and I would, if I became mayor of a town with my biking background, like I would definitely be looking at how does everybody get everywhere they need to get in however manner or fashion they want to get there.
Yeah.
So e-bikes, I love them in that they're bringing a whole lot of people outside and able to traverse distances that they didn't think was possible before outside of a vehicle.
Yep.
But it's also introducing people into an activity that they might not have years of experience knowing the safety aspect, how to work with vehicles and, how to communicate with other bikers or pedestrians or whatever. And they're fast.
Yeah.
So it's a real dynamic thing, good and some challenges. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going through a little bit of period of time here that's kind of unique. I got a lot of people learning about these things and using them for the first time. And I mean, we really saw it when the scooters first came out, the motorized scooters, because those went 18 miles an hour.
I know.
And who grew up riding a scooter that went 18? Nobody, right?
I know.
And they were trying, mixing on the road. Where do we ride? Do we ride on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
They had small wheels. They'd look for potholes.
Yeah.
It's the cause but that problem has really kind of calmed down a lot now.
Okay.
The scooters have gotten better. They don't go as fast. They're geo-fenced. So, like, if you're on a scooter on the Riverwalk, it knows it's on the Riverwalk, and it cuts its speed down.
Okay.
So you can't go super fast.
Oh, good.
And I think we're going to go through the same thing with the e-bikes.
It was crazy when they first came out. When I first got on one, I'm like, holy shit, this is fast and I can do it? Like, there's nothing stopping it from going? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
I was on
They didn't
Woodward.
have lights on them or anything?
Yeah, I was on Woodward going, what am I? There's cars. I go, what am I doing?
Yeah, I know.
What am I doing?
It was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially we come from such a crazy litigious world, and then all of a sudden there's scooters everywhere. Like, wow, how did this happen?
Yeah. So I think it's going to get better and better and better.
Okay.
There was also an issue too with the de minimis for imports was raised to $800, which allowed a lot of really cheap e-bikes and scooters to come in that didn't meet standards.
Okay.
That's been gone. That's been taken away. So hopefully we're going to see a drop off in the number of overly powered, under-engineered, fire-starting bikes.
Okay.
which has been an issue.
Okay.
And more legitimate bikes. But there are legitimate manufacturers making bikes now that do go faster than the 28 mile an hour limit that's in state law. So, and you see a lot of kids on those kinds of little bikes too. So we got to work
and
it out.
And that's technically classed outside of an e-bike, right?
It's
So the
outside.
classifications are there's e-bike, there's something else, and there's moped or whatever. There's an engine, a combustible engine or something like that.
Even electric,
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get above 28,
Then it's
or
technically-
if you're above 20 with a throttle, you're not an e-bike.
Okay.
If you're 28 pedal assist, you're still an e-bike.
Okay.
There's 3 classes
Okay.
that. Now, something that just recently happened just this week is Amazon just said they're no longer going to sell illegal bikes in California that go too fast. I don't know if other states will follow.
Okay.
But that could have a drastic effect on these bikes proliferating in the community. So
Okay.
I think there's better ways of handling this situation than coming out with these drastic laws. Like New Jersey came out with just a super drastic law that totally harms e-bike use.
Okay.
You have to have a driver's license, be registered. It's like
For an e-bike.
for an e-bicycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing some things that look a lot like a motorcycle,
Yeah.
but you're talking the legit e-bike.
For legit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a motorcycle, or a moped, you still have to be registered. and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I've seen these little, looks like 6-year-old kids buzzing around. They look a lot like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Well, and keep in mind too that the state law says that the parents are responsible
Yeah.
if those kids do anything.
Eesh.
So we need some parents to
You better know that
Yeah,
before you give them to them for their birthday.
that's right.
Damn, you better know that one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think e-bikes are great. What we've seen is that when you do tours with people and they're all on an e-bike, everyone keeps up.
Yep.
And the whole group rides together. It's wonderful. I mean, if you have, if your partner's a stronger biker than you are, and you get an e-bike, suddenly you can go on bike vacations together.
Yeah. I want Chris to get one. We have another
Yeah.
good, my wife. We have
Yeah.
another good couple friend, and she just got an e-bike. She doesn't like to bike as fast as he does, but now they can enjoy the sport together.
Yeah.
At the pace that they both want to go.
Exactly.
At the effort that's identical, almost. And
Right.
I wish Chris would get one.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that with her.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love e-bikes, but definitely I think that the point is this isn't going away. There's going to be more variety of mobility on the streets, sidewalks, whatever pathways than we've ever had before. It's just where
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
going. And it's good for society.
It
It's
is
healthy,
good.
man.
Yeah. We have a group in Detroit developing a light hauling vehicle. It's a tricycle.
Okay.
that pulls 750 pounds of stuff in a trailer.
Wow.
And so this could replace delivery vans,
Oh, wow.
right? And these things are maneuverable. They're fairly quick enough for a city
Okay.
to make deliveries and get vehicles off the
Okay.
road. It's great. So yeah, we're going to be seeing more diverse, not only just individuals, but also businesses using these kinds of devices.
Yep. I know when I go to Austin, I know one of the things they're doing down there, they're testing all these little food delivery, little taxi things.
Yeah.
There's stuff all over the place down there now.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually fought that in Michigan. They were FedEx and Amazon were trying to pass a state law that would allow delivery robots traveling at 10 miles an hour, weighing up to a half ton,
Yeah.
operating on sidewalks.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
They're all on sidewalks, all the ones I saw. They're these
Yeah.
little boxes, but I saw a couple of them that were totally confused. Like one didn't know how to get out of a parking lot. It kept going around and around and around and around. There's some glitches in there.
Yeah, I think the one of the fundamental flaws with that delivery robot thing is that they say, well, a delivery robot is so much more environmental than a truck.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
but what about versus a cargo bike?
Yeah.
Oh, and suddenly they're not competitive anymore.
Yeah.
A cargo bike can do multiple deliveries.
Yeah.
They can walk it up to your front door.
Yep.
So they're not even competitive. And I actually, later on, I spoke with Amazon's policy person. They're like, yeah, we realized it didn't really work.
Yeah.
The model didn't work. It might work out on an industrial campus or something.
Oh, sure.
But it couldn't make deliveries to the household.
within a campus, like a college setting or
Yeah,
something
it might
like
work
that.
there. Yeah. But as a whole, there are better options.
Yeah.
So
the e-bikes, this is wild that they actually could recognize you're on a pathway and they could scale it down.
Yeah. Now these are the shared bikes
Okay.
that you would rent.
Got it.
Or the shared scooters. People's individual bikes generally won't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but the city sets up geo-fenced areas where it knows there are going to be a lot of people.
Okay.
And can slow them down. Yeah, the new scooters. I mean, they recognize when they're parked correctly or not correctly. They can reward or punish the user for not parking properly. So yeah, they're so much more advanced than they were when they were first introduced.
Yep. We're taking a trip to Japan to go see my son's doing study abroad over there. And one of the main things on my mind, because I was telling you before we started talking on the podcast, is I didn't get an ice skating season in. So I'm kind of late in my physical training for the events I've got coming up this year. So I need to work out when I'm in Japan. But one of the biggest things on my mind right now is, are there going to be safe places for me to run around? I'm sure that, I can run around anywhere, but especially which of these cities have some type of pathways where I can run up a mountain or something like that, connectivity. And just more and more and more, that's on the minds of people, especially active people. And I'll make a decision, not to Japan, we're going to go where we're going to go, but I'll make the decision to where I'm going to travel, maybe within our country or some other places, which city I'm going to stay in, depending on how that area has set up mobility. It's such a huge thing.
It is.
And Detroit is doing and the city of Detroit and all the players in it are doing a phenomenal job of setting this area up, not just the city of Detroit, but connecting to Canada, connecting all the way to the suburbs, connecting communities all over the place, setting it up as a destination place where you can be physically active.
Yeah, and we're starting to attract conferences.
Okay.
That are geared towards active living. So we just had the American Planning Association for their National Planning Conference in Detroit.
Okay.
We were involved in doing some tours with some of their planners. We have a placemaking conference coming to Detroit later this year. We were able to bring the Association of Pedestrian and Bicycle Professionals conference to Detroit.
Oh yeah, I was at that one.
Yeah. And so we now have stuff we can show off, right?
Yeah.
And
you gave tours. People gave tours during that conference. People
Yeah.
signed up and get some tours, go for a ride.
Yeah. And so we have a lot to show off now in Detroit. And so we're also doing a tour. We did a tour for the Ontario Bike Summit that was last year. We're doing another tour for Great Lakes Waterfront Trail later this year. Hopefully we convince the Canadians to cross the border.
Yeah.
Come over and visit us. And but we have a nice tour set up, show off some of the stuff. But yeah, it's great. It's great to have stuff that people can see and be excited about. And and that's where the connection part is so important. If there's gaps, it's maybe easier for us to figure out the gaps, but someone who's not familiar with the city, to make these connections is difficult. It's easier if you just get on the path. And that's one thing the great thing about the Gordie Howe Bridge and what the city of Detroit did with the Joe Louis Greenway, which I don't think we've mentioned yet. That's the plan to extend the DeQuintercut all the way around the entire city.
Oh, wow.
It'll be a 29-mile trail.
Wow.
And they changed, we set the original route, and then they've changed it to move the route to be directly connected to the Gordie Howe Bridge. So when you come off the bridge, you're on a greenway that loops 29 miles around the city.
Wow.
Now, it's not done yet. There's still some gaps to be done, but much of it is done. You can get on that, come off that trail, and if you go counterclockwise, you go to downtown, you go to Belle Isle.
Yep.
If you go clockwise, you'll be able to go around the city, and you're going to go through Dearborn, Hamtramck. You'll be able to take another connections up to Ferndale.
Wow.
Yeah, it's under construction now. I mean, when we started, it was based upon an 8-mile section of abandoned rail corridor. Conrail said, we're not going to, there's no more customers on this route. We're abandoning the rail corridor. And they were just hanging on to the property. And so some people in Detroit recognized, wow, if we had 8 miles of railroad and put a trail on it, and we just connect the two ends to the DeQuintercut and the Riverwalk, we could make this big loop.
Yep.
And so we worked on that. We wrote the grants to get to acquire that property. And then the city just totally got on board. And this has become, the main thing that happened is that it went from not just being a trail, it became a neighborhood revitalization project.
Yep.
So listening to everyone who lived along this corridor, what are your priorities for your neighborhood? And it was, blight removal, getting rid of the dumping, home affordability, home repairs, building more parks in our neighborhood, places for our teenagers and kids to play. So that all became part of this Joe Louis Greenway project. And of course now it's a $300 and some million project, right? 'Cause, yeah, and plus you find things like I think they were saying they found 600,000 dumped tires.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the amount of the project was slowed down at one point because there weren't enough trucks to haul away all the debris that they were on this rail corridor. But now the sections that are done, which is a substantial part of it, are just stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
And you see everyone fixing up their houses along the corridor.
So the ripple effects are tremendous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Now, there's always concern about, is it gentrification? Are we going to push people out of their homes? But, the city of Detroit got ahead of that and really helped people out ahead of time. And it's not like in Atlanta, the Beltline, which is another trail that is really done a lot of gentrification and pushing people out. Completely different model than the Joe Louis Greenway.
Where's that at?
In Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
They're building a looped trail around the city.
Okay.
But they're using tax increment financing, so they want the property values to skyrocket up so they can make more money.
Okay.
And continue building the trail.
Okay.
Whereas Detroit's not doing it that way. Detroit's relying a lot on state and federal grants, ARPA dollars, philanthropy to get it built.
Okay.
So it's a different model, and they're also including affordable housing as part of it, and home repairs, helping people, stay living along the trail to take advantage of it once it's built.
Yeah. So I was in Virginia, and I was on the Creeper Trail. Have you heard of that? So it's this.
Yeah.
So amazingly, the people there were telling me like how many people come from all over the place to ride this Creeper Trail. I'm like, oh, that's great. I had my bike with me, and so I went up and down the Creeper Trail. It's really not even that far. It's cool. It's in the mountains of Virginia. It's on a railroad track, so it doesn't have any big hills. It's pretty flat. But it's amazing to me about how far people will travel to be on some connected path.
Yeah.
And then it gets recognition, and people know about it from all over the place.
I think the Joe Louis Greenway is nationally significant in that way. Because, love the corner cut, but you're completely disconnected from the neighborhood. And the neighborhood has already went through urban renewal, so it's a little, not so much going on. I mean, there is at Eastern Market, but the rest of the trail, you're going to go through neighborhoods where there's just amazing Mexican food.
Yeah.
Amazing Middle Eastern food.
Yeah.
Soul food. Polish food and Hamtramck. You're going right down through the middle of Hamtramck. I mean, just the food alone, you can gain weight doing this trail, right?
Especially if you're on an e-bike.
Yeah, you're not going to lose weight on this trail.
Yeah.
There's just so much to see and so much history, and it's beautiful. And it tells a story of how the neighborhoods are starting to come back. It's not the entire city, but some of these neighborhoods are really starting to come back, and the residents who stuck and stayed and are invested in these communities are helping make that happen. It's really cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, I'm fired up to go ride my bike this summer down in Detroit.
I have to give you a tour.
I'm definitely going to go over that bridge. The Gordie Howe Bridge. So I wanted to talk about bike safety from a biker standpoint. My son, Owen, joined me on the Tour de Youp at age 17. And that's a 1,200-mile ride. It's the same distance as Detroit to Disney World. It's pretty good, 10-day span. And the first thing that went through my mind, because I do know quite a bit about the crashes and the accidents that can happen, and we've had mutual friends that have been hurt. And am I going to introduce my son into a support that ends up harming him? That scared the shit out of me, Yeah. And he's 17 years old. And it's one thing to do an event, but you put in a lot of miles to do that one event. And this is a big event, long event, but you put in a lot of training miles to do that event. And you've done, were you doing triathlons?
Yeah, I've done triathlons.
Okay, yeah. I thought you did.
Yeah.
So in a triathlon, it's the training, not getting hit by a car, not getting run over by a boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you do the event, but there's a lot that goes prior to the event.
Yeah.
So anyways, Owen and I made a handshake pact, that we will never get hit by a car. And it seemed weird to say that in the beginning. All right, Owen, we have an agreement. Neither of us are ever going to get hit by a car. And then as soon as we said that, we started to talk through out loud, what do we do to put those odds in our favor that never happens? And the first thing I realized, and the first rule we came up with these different rules. The first rule we wrote down is Strava doesn't matter. And what I mean by that is I don't give a shit what my time is. I had this ride that I used to do. I called it 20 over 20. It was a 20-mile loop, and I had to go over 20 miles an hour for an average, which is fine to do if you're on one rural road without stop signs, stop lights, traffic, blah, blah, blah.
Or Belle Isle.
Yeah, or Belle Isle. But when you're in suburban area with stop signs, stop lights, tons of traffic, no shoulders, it's a lot more challenging to maintain left-hand turns. You know what I mean? It's a lot more challenging to maintain 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And when we said the very first item, Strava times don't matter, I don't do that 20 over 20 ride anymore. But when I look back at it, most of my close calls were on a situation where I was trying to maintain a certain miles per hour. So almost immediately, our risk level plummeted because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't care if I get back and my average is 13, 14 miles an hour. There's going to be periods of time that I got a good workout, and there's going to be periods of time I came to a complete stop, waited for a while. Even though the watch stops, you're still gradually slowing down and then going back up again.
Right.
So as we came up with these different things, how we interact with traffic, the lights that we have on our bikes and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about the responsibility and the influence that we have as bikers to not get hit. So what have you seen out there, or what do you implement?
I think I'm a very defensive biker. I assume people are going to be doing stupid things all the time.
Yep.
And basically they do.
Yep.
I mean, like I saw this guy today.
Yep.
You know, make a red hook on a red light without even coming to a stop at a red light. Crazy. I had a guy pull out of a driveway. He was looking right at me, and I was like, "You said I had enough time to say, you see me? I'm right here."
Did you make eye contact?
Oh, I yelled at him.
Okay, but eyes? Did your eyes
yeah,
meet? Okay,
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's one of our things. Make eye contact.
Well, it's harder and harder to do with the tinting of windshields now.
Yeah, but if I can't see their eyes, I assume they don't see me. That's what I mean. And
that's true. That's
like
true.
if I make eye contact and we give each other a nod, then I know we've made some connection. But if I don't make that direct eye contact, then I assume I need to come to a complete stop because they don't see me.
Yeah, and so one thing I guess I started biking mainly as a mountain biker. Mm-hmm. So you're always thinking about like options. Like if this guy doesn't stop, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And you kind of think of it ahead of time, so you kind of have a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so rare anyways, but there have been times where you see a car turning left. Are they waiting for me? Or are they going to go? Right? When this last car goes, are they just going to go and cut me off?
Yep.
And so you kind of make a plan.
Yep.
You know, you kind of, and it's the same thing when you're driving, right?
Yep.
It's no different than when you're driving and being a defensive driver, and you say, I don't think that car sees me right now, and they're going to cut over and cut me off.
Yep.
Right. So, yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
Yep.
And I rarely get into situations. I mean, I got hit. It wasn't bad. I didn't come off the bike, but in front of a state trooper.
Okay.
State trooper was stopped on his motorcycle on Woodward. So that lane couldn't be in it, except for bikes could be, but he has his motorcycle parked there. I ride past the cop. 20 feet later, a van turns right into me, and then yells profanities at me.
Wow.
And steers me off into the curb. And I look back at the cop, and the cop looks up at me and just puts his head back down into his work. And I'm like,
didn't make the crash report.
Are you going to do something? Are you going to do something?
Yeah.
I finally had to shame him into I mean, this guy was, unsafe turn, could have killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so you just gotta be a defensive driver, biker, and be prepared for everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you do the same
and don't
thing.
go 20 at 20. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I stopped doing that one. That was back training for triathlons, trying to hit certain numbers.
Okay.
But so I'm sure you see the same thing. What's the nose of the car doing? Is the nose going down? Is the nose going up?
The wheels.
What are the wheels doing?
Mm-hmm.
How quickly did they come? Does it look like they're just trying to do a yield to turn, or are they actually coming to a complete stop?
Does the car have already been smashed
before? I know. I noticed that too.
It's going to be smashed
There's
again.
A few dents in there. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
They don't care that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are things you pick up over time.
Yep. Which is one of the challenges about the e-biking community. If they're newer, if they don't have those years of experience and those thousands of miles on their bike, they're not going to pick up on these little subtleties as much.
Yeah, but a lot of people,
They're fast,
the casual biker, they're not going that fast. They're not on Strava.
Yeah.
And they're on bikes they're more sit back, so they're not going to go over the handlebars so much. Yeah.
Which is a big part about driving with vehicles too. Is we get in an intersection, I sit up. So a lot of times when you're on, you can tuck in this bike pretty good. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to go fast, you're tucked down. But when it comes to come to an intersection, and I have got the green light, they got to stop. I assume that driver's eyes aren't programmed because motorcycles get hit a lot. They're a smaller thing. They're not looking for bikers, and so I sit up, I make myself visible, I'm looking for that eye contact.
Yeah.
I've got the front light that's a flashing white light. They got the back light that's a flashing red light.
Yeah.
You do things to increase your visibility. And
yeah, and I think, this is like motorcycles and bicyclists. When you're a small, narrow vehicle, drivers have a hard time estimating how fast you're going. It's true with trains too. That's why cars get hit by trains all the time.
I know.
Because they see that one headlight and they can't. It's difficult to judge how fast that thing is going, and I'm going faster than they probably expect.
I did something really dumb one time. I was jogging along a train track. It was over on Kensington Road.
Oh yeah.
And there's a path by the train track. I was jogging along it, and the train was coming. Like, these damn trains would be long. So, I need to get over the other side anyways. I might as well go, and I did. And it looked like I had a lot of space. And I did have a decent amount of space, and I crossed over, and I wasn't over very long, and the train went by. I'm like, holy shit, that thing was going a lot faster. That thing was going a lot faster than I thought. It's deceiving.
Yeah. I don't know if it was going southbound, but southbound, I think the speed limit is 55. Those trains.
Wow.
So yeah, they can go pretty fast.
Yeah.
I was in a running race a couple years ago, and I was running along. It was like 100K. I was just 30 miles in, and I hear a rumble. I'm like, that's a train.
Yeah.
And then I hear that ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I ran down. I ran around the crossing thing, and but yeah, it wasn't. That train wasn't going that fast.
Okay.
So. But yeah.
Yeah.
I looked back to see if anyone got caught behind us.
Yeah. Yeah. Beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What were we saying about the train?
Oh, it's difficult to judge the speed.
Oh, okay.
for motorists.
Yeah, for a motorcycle or bike.
Because there's just that when you have two lights and they're traveling, you can see them converge towards each other.
I got it.
And that helps you judge how fast that vehicle's going.
Okay.
But things that only have one light, you can't do that.
Okay.
Yep. I started taking creatine. Not for muscles, but for my brain. They're saying it can help with like your brain working, especially for vegetarians. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but because for me, like after a big day of working out, the next day my brain is in a fog.
Okay.
And I'm like, I wonder if that's because of the creatine, because you use it during your muscles and it takes a while for your body to create more.
Okay.
And your brain runs on it.
Do you notice a difference?
I'm doing great today.
Wow.
And I crushed it last night. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How long have you been trying?
I load it up and then
creatine?
I just take a small maintenance amount.
Okay.
So I think because I'm vegetarian, it probably has more effect than, but it's very subtle even for me.
Okay. I'll have to look into it. I know Ryan was telling me about it the other day.
Yeah, so that too, yeah.
I just do it for the brain fog part. I don't do it for the muscles.
Okay.
I mean, likewise, yeah. Apparently, you need more to get into your brain, though. That's what they're saying.
I know.
Getting it off the internet, so it's kind of like, all right, I don't.
I'm doing like 4 to 5 per day grams.
Yeah, that's.
But I also want to use it for my 100 milers because
during it,
because your brain can get kind of wonky.
Yeah.
And I had a rough moment last year during that run with the 42,000 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredibly difficult race in terms of if you don't have a crew. If you have a crew, you could sleep after this 30 miles. I forget how many miles in, 50 miles in. I didn't.
Okay.
So I had to push on over a mountain pass and then come back over that mountain pass. And it was a bitch of a mountain pass. And I lost it.
Okay.
Mentally.
Yeah.
I couldn't run down a gravel road.
Okay.
I fell on my ass multiple times.
Wow.
And almost broke out into tears.
Wow.
I'm like, I can't run anymore.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And I ran through the stone tunnel, and I hit my head multiple times,
Oh,
even
my
though I
God.
knew the tunnel was there.
Yeah.
But I lost
Brain
it.
was gone.
I slept for an hour, and then I was fine.
Have you had creatine during a run yet?
No,
See?
I'm going to do that, though, for this Wyoming.
Well, you're going to try it before or not?
Well, I'm doing it now,
Okay.
but I'll do it. This will be the first time doing it during a run.
Okay. You know, the very...
Guys are good to go whenever
Okay.
you jump back in.
Yeah, we're good. The very fact that there's a lot of bears there is even more intriguing for me to do that run.
Yeah, no.
I love bears. I know it's exciting.
I've seen one at just on a bike ride at Lake Tahoe, but I've smelled one in a race before.
Okay.
I didn't realize it, but I thought we were at this race in Whistler, and all the barricades for the race course had gotten torn down. I'm like, what kids would do that in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I smell that musky smell. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was the bear going down to the river.
Yeah,
To
you
get
can
some-
smell them a lot. I've smelled them a lot when I'm hiking, exploring up in the UP and going around.
Okay.
Like all of a sudden, wolves give off an odor, bears giving off an odor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
you
not
can
seen a
smell
wolf. I was told in a race that 2 wolves were following me
Okay.
in Alaska, but I never saw them.
Okay.
But they were apparently following me.
It might have been. I've been on a lot of walks up in the UP where I'll walk down. There'd be a little bit of sand or mud or something.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing it, sometimes coming back on my same pathway, and then there'll be wolf tracks
Okay.
on my tracks.
Wow.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
I wonder what they were doing. They're curious, just checking me out. Or
Yeah. Something to do.
I took one time. We had this German exchange student kid in high school.
Yeah.
That stayed with us for a little bit. No, actually, he didn't stay with us. I was outdoorsy. He was outdoorsy. So he went on a couple UP trips with me. He was staying with somebody else. So, anyways, I took him up to the UP, and we were exploring with the topo maps and walking around the woods. And I was looking at the map, seeing where to go next, and he had to take a piss. So he went up over the hill to take a leak. And all of a sudden he comes running toward me, and like white as a ghost, like
Yeah.
that phrase. He had like no blood in his face. He was that's the first thing I noticed is he's really white, and he's like he can't talk clearly. He's like woof 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 woof, and he gets woof out, and he's running toward me, and then I look and there's this wolf bounding behind him.
Yeah.
And then it was really thick swamp. And then he kind of comes through the trees and he says wolf out loud. And then the wolf makes eye contact with me, and he's through the trees. You can clearly see it's a human being.
Yeah.
And the wolf turns around and takes off. I think he just startled it. Like the wolf is
Yeah.
hunting down this trail.
Yeah.
And then Alex starts to run through the trees. So the
Yeah.
wolf sees something run, so it
And
started to chase it.
yeah,
Once it
exactly.
saw his people, it was like,
Yeah, I'm not going to do
whatever.
that.
Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've never seen a wolf.
I love bears. I know I've had a few do some false charges on me.
Oh, you have?
Oh yeah.
Black
Yeah.
bear, though?
Yeah, black bear.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see a bear and it does, this is a thing that people get wrong. If you see a bear and it'll turn its body and it'll look at you kind of side eye,
Mm-hmm.
and then it rocks. One rock is all you need to know. And it'll look at you side eye again. It's either coming right at you or it's going directly away from you, but it's going to do one of those two lightning fast any freaking moment.
Okay.
A bear rock is the telltale sign that it's deciding right now, am I going toward that thing or am I going to go away from that thing?
Wow.
But really soon it's going to do one of the two. And no matter which one it does, it'll scare the shit out of you. Because if it's running away, you'll realize, oh my God, that thing is freaking fast.
Yeah.
And it could close this ground in no time if it wanted to.
Yeah.
If it comes
Wow.
at you, it's obviously scares the crap out of you.
How close did he charge you?
Oh, I've had them meet you away.
Really?
Yeah, well, they'll charge, and then, so there's always trees around the UP. It's not a wide open space area.
Okay.
And so they'll charge, and they'll, stop at a pine tree, and they'll smack the pine tree, and they pop their jaws. They pop
Okay.
their teeth to clomp.
Yeah.
And they smack the tree or the hardwood tree or the pine tree, and they clomp their jaws. And they didn't really want to do anything to me, but they don't want me to be there.
Okay.
And they want me to, they want me to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you can usually tell, thank God, none of them
Yeah.
have wanted to harm me.
Yeah.
But you can usually tell by their posture, They just don't want you there.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they take an approach that's going to get you out of there.
But you're not on a popular trail or anything, right?
I'm in the woods. Yeah, I'm always in the woods.
See, I think
yeah.
it might be different if I'm going to be on trails where they probably are used to seeing people.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like with a wild animal, the first thing I'm trying to understand is why are they irritated?
Yeah.
And it's, to me, my experience has been they're irritated because they have young. They're irritated because they have food right there. Or they're irritated because I'm where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
And that's where the trail part will get you.
Mm-hmm.
Because animals like trails just like people do.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, if they're coming toward you, are you going to scare that thing? And where it's going there. It's going there for a reason. It's going to go to take a nap, or it's going to go get something to eat. You know, it's got a destination in mind. Are you going to make that thing go all the way up the mountain and go around you? Right. Or it really wants to just come through?
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll have to recognize where, okay, it's trying to get where I am, so I'm going to get out of its way and let it get where I am.
Okay.
Because it's a lot bigger than I am.
Yeah, so you just back away and...
Well, not just back, but I have to remove myself from how it's trying to get somewhere.
Okay.
I was running in North Carolina, and there was a case. I was running up this mountain, and somebody was barbecuing in their house up the mountain. And there's all these switchbacks. It was on a road, you know, all these switchbacks. And the closer I got to the house, it smelled phenomenal. They're barbecuing, all the smoky flavor. And anyway, so I get past the home. I'm at level with it now. And the wind's kind of going this way, so I'm running up the road. And I'm like, damn, this smoke is carrying right up this road. That's wild. And then here comes a bear coming right down the smoke trail.
Nice.
And it wanted to get to where I was coming.
Yeah.
And so, and I was on a road, not a trail, but nonetheless, I'm on its path.
Yeah.
And so it went 10 feet up off the road on a little hill.
Yeah.
And I stopped. I did take a picture, you know.
Yeah.
But then it popped its jaws. I'm like, okay, I don't need any more information.
Right. It's
It's trying to get to where I'm coming from. I'm going to go around it, let him do its thing, and then off I go.
All right.
Yeah. A couple more things on defensive riding on your bike.
Yeah.
What do you do? Stop signs, stop lights in that situation. I see where bikers put themselves alongside of vehicles, and some bikers put themselves in the lane on stop signs and stop lights. I think they could be treated differently. What do you do with those?
It's that's probably one area where I have to make a lot of decisions.
Okay.
And it really varies depending on the situation. Because sometimes you're in that lane at the curb and a car's going to turn right. Where I don't want to be is up against the curb and a car's turning and possibly brushing me or hitting me.
And I call it sometimes hiding in the shadows. You gotta be careful about that.
That's a bad place to be.
Yep.
One way to avoid that is to just leave enough room so they can go by you on the right.
Okay.
But then you're kind of like out in the middle a little bit.
Yep.
Studies have found that if you jump the light, so if you know it's about to turn green and get ahead of it, you can get away from that car turning right too.
And that is, in some states, they adopt stop as yield or yield as stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's kind of dealing with what you're saying.
Yeah. It helps. It helps
can
make it safe.
Clear the intersection faster.
Yeah. Exactly. And
Keeps
you're out
it
of the
open,
way.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of times, like that, like for instance, I'm on Woodward going south at 8 Mile. I'll just pull forward enough on my bike so I'm not really in the intersection, but there's enough room for a car to turn right and go by me and not, have a problem.
Okay.
So, but there's sometimes where I will take the lane if I feel like if I don't take the lane, it's not going to be safe for me.
Yeah.
From 0 to 15, I'm as fast as a car.
Yep.
Beyond that, I'm not.
Right.
So, once things get going, I can pull over and all that. But just try to be defensive and not put yourself into a bad situation.
That's what I find more and more. I'm in the lane with the vehicles, at the light, waiting. We all get rolling, and then I tend to veer off to the right is what I've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I will stay directly behind a vehicle, especially if I don't know which way they're going,
right?
If they're turning or whatever.
Yep.
If I'm on their right, sometimes I'll just wait, let that car go, and then drop behind it.
I think 100% of the time now I'm right behind them as if I'm a vehicle.
Yeah. And then you know pretty much they can see you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I hit all these on safety. Yeah, I think so. The last thing that I am cognizantly aware of, and we were on a dude ranch in Wyoming one time, and one of the things that the cowboy said when we go out on the horses is you're training the horse for the next rider. So all the bad behaviors or the things that you do is making the next rider have a more difficult experience. I take that mindset when I'm on my bike and my interaction with people, vehicles, how polite I am, how human I am, and sometimes informing them that you did something that was dangerous. Did you mean to do that or whatever, but having a conversation with people. But I think it's important as bikers that we're all representing all the bikers out there, and it's good for us to be good stewards of that biking community when we're engaging with traffic, that we're being safe, we're being polite, we're being human, and we're having educational conversations with people from time to time.
Yeah, I would expand that and say it's not a bike thing, it's a public right-of-way thing.
Yeah.
And all the users of the roadway need to have that attitude.
Yep.
I think too often we put too much burden just on the bikes. Well, the bikes have to be friendly and nice to everybody.
Yep.
What about the people driving?
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree.
And I think the biggest, the big difference between driving and biking is that when you're biking, you are experiencing everything around you. You're talking to people. Like today, I'm right here. I said good morning to a number of people.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Rung my bell at a little boy who was pointing at me,
Yeah.
And so you're interacting with everything. When you're in a car, you're just totally disconnected from the community that you're passing through.
Yep.
You got the radio on. You're in a comfortable seat, air conditioning, and all that.
Yep.
And so I think the burden, I don't say the burden, but we need to get more motorists to feel like they're part of this community that they're driving through.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I tend to see more people when they're in a convertible. They're a little bit nicer to you because they can actually talk to you and see you and wave and all that.
Yeah.
Whereas the people in the car that have the heavily tinted windows and the loud music going, they're just totally disconnected.
That's totally true.
So
we got a convertible a few years ago, and the first few times driving, I'm like, wow! You hear like a truck working on something, like dropping a piece of machinery, like bang, like whoa, But it's amazing how much more involved you are.
Yeah.
When you're in something, you can hear what's going on.
Yeah, and see everything, right?
Yeah.
And talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yep. So right or wrong, no matter who's at fault, bottom line is, like you said in the beginning, we don't have this armored protection shield around us, and we're going to lose the physical altercation with a vehicle. So you got to be, no matter who's at fault, look out.
Yeah.
Look out
absolutely.
for yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
Todd, I've got one more question for you. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for being here. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up? Any of your projects? Any other resources you want to point people to? Anything that I didn't ask that you wish we'd cover?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, really recommend people going onto our map and checking out all that's going on. I think people will be surprised.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's some things I need to take you on to show you the Southwest Greenway.
Some areas I haven't seen for sure.
I mean, the Joe Louis Greenway on the west side is getting long enough where it justifies going out there just to do a ride.
I haven't been anywhere around the train station in a long time. I saw it being developed, but I haven't been. I haven't enjoyed any of the non-motorized stuff in that area at all.
Right. So, I mean, there's a trail that will go from the train station to the Gordie Howe Bridge.
Yeah.
And the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority has built much of it. There's some of it's under construction now.
Yeah.
But, it's amazing. And the stuff on the west side, unbelievable pathway. It actually, what they've done to address the e-bikes and all that, too, is that they've split the path. So there's kind of like a walking path, and then there's a speeder path.
Okay.
Where they can, they split them so that there's less conflicts between groups.
Okay.
But no, it's beautiful, and the park revitalization that's gone on, it's just it's awesome.
Okay.
And there's bike rental there too, so if you don't have a bike, you can rent one, and a lot to do. People will be surprised.
You mentioned a bell. Do you got a bell on here?
I sure do. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Right there, bell light,
hiding behind your light. That's a good idea to have on a bike.
It's friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily work with drivers, but
Yeah.
it works well with pedestrians and other
Yeah.
bikes. And sometimes you come up on bikes and they're in a zone, and you can surprise them, or people are walking along on a path and they're just wearing headphones and trying to get their steps in, and a little ding of the bell and good morning. Just so they don't
that's a good
startle
point.
and jump.
It's friendly. I was riding in Island Lake one time, and in Island Lake, there's all the mountain bike trails that go across the paved road trail, and there's a mountain biker coming down, and I don't think he saw me, and I said something. Hey, I'm out here. I'm on your left. Or I said something. Then he yelled something back, like as if I was scolding him. I was just making sure he knew I'm there, that he's aware. He went to yell at that bell. So like ding, it's a friendly way to say here I am.
It is exactly.
It can't be misconstrued.
No,
like I'm right, you're wrong. I wasn't saying that.
Right. Even if you click it a bunch of times, it's like
I was a bell.
Yeah.
Oh, a bell. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's disarming.
Yeah. So if you're doing city driving, especially, that's a good thing to have on there.
Yeah, I like it. I like my bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about back to safety? These radars in the back, especially if you're on rural roads, where you can see that radar connects to your bike computer or your phone, tells you there's a car behind you. Those things have been really cool.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more of them on our. I ride with a club in Detroit, and a lot more people have those.
Yeah.
And they seem to really like them.
Yeah.
I still don't. I still try to use my ears and turn my head from time to time to see what's happening. But
around here it just go off all the time. But you get on some of these quiet northern rural roads where you don't see a car for a long time. It can be a good, nice reminder.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah. All right, Todd, I got my last question for you. The name of this podcast is
Wealth is a choice. Boom.
And wealth means a lot of things to a lot of people. In my financial planning office, you think about money, but it doesn't have to be money. It can be health, can be love, relationship, community, happiness, all kinds of stuff. For whatever wealth means to you in your moment at this time, do you think there's a choice with it?
So, I've been thinking about that during the whole interview. I would say it's more of a choice than people think or realize. You can get out on a bike and go for an amazing ride and get physical fitness, which is amazing wealth.
Yeah.
Quality of life, experience the community you live in. But so many people don't do that. They just, they don't get out and see what's there.
Okay.
And, or they go to the places and vacation someplace and they go, oh, this is so cool, and they don't realize that, gosh, you got some of those same things here. You can really see some really cool things, in your own city. So, I think wealth is more abundant than people think. It's more around them than they think.
Okay.
And you can there's multiple aspects to it. No, not just the experience, but the healthy side of it, both physically and mentally. Great benefits.
Yeah.
Get out and bike. Get out and walk.
Yeah. One of the things I treasure in life is unique experiences. And it's amazing how you can go about your day kind of the same way week after week, month after month. But get out to all these amazing greenways you guys have developed in an area like Detroit and the surrounding area and have a unique experience.
Yeah, totally unique
You'll
experience.
remember it forever.
And
it won't blend into the normal mediocrity of your existence.
Exactly. I've been on so many rides with people where they're like, wait, where is this? I've lived in Detroit my whole life. I've never seen this. What is this? It's great. It's awesome. Yeah. You just got to get out and experience it more.
All right. Well, thanks, Todd. You're an incredible individual. The godfather of Viking Detroit is. Have you heard that?
I have from Pat.
Okay.
But there's
Is that okay or not okay?
It is. I just don't want to feel like I'm in charge of everything. There's just a whole lot of people that have made things happen in Detroit.
Yeah.
And it's been a group effort.
Yeah.
And, we all get a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
It's not just any one person.
Yeah, I have no doubt that that's true. It definitely takes individual people to be an advocate for change and improvement. And
Absolutely.
It's not something that happens lightly. And it doesn't happen because you decided to go say something and you stuck with it for a week. These are things that take years to develop.
Yeah.
And so we need people like you and others that you've been working with for many years to stick with it to make real change happen. So
Absolutely.
love you, man. Thanks for doing it.
Sure. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for the chat today.
Sounds great. Yeah, it was great.
All right, cool. Thanks, Todd.
Cool.